2412.
Veteran crisis hotline's calling in, so they have a female veteran off her medication. She's over at the safe haven. Detective 12, we'll check that one out.
6 Rumble, 2 1 star, take your shots.
Crisis hotline's calling in, so they have a... Office still stands for time? No. Offender in custody? Thanks. Anyone else close, point to the result, let me know. First number. 10-4. Office still stands for time? No. Offender in custody? Anyone else close, point to the result, let me know. 10-5, 33.
3-3. Can you let us supervisor know that I have a case report for this arrest attached?
1830. Is that possible if you're in a Wilson? First number. 10-4. Is William still on? 37 Fulton. I'm sorry, we're not happy you're not looking. Try that one more time, puppy. 847 Fulton. 847 Fulton, okay. Domestic battery at 1815 at Winchester, 18.5 for Winchester. And he stated the caller and the owner of the vehicle. Someone shot there. Alright, the EvilleCJ does take pictures of the police with domestic related.
Good morning. I haven't even had my coffee yet.
Morning.
All right, let me get this switched up here. So, good morning. Hopefully, y'all can hear me okay. Can you hear me okay, Rosee?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Okay. Let me see here. So, as you guys know, I've been using the EV. Is it gonna work? Okay, hold on. Hopefully this works. Okay, there. Oh, we're missing. But so I've been using EvMUMX the last, I don't know, week, something like that. And the last couple days, really, I think from the beginning, because I think Busby was the first one that came up on panel, and the guests, it seems, keep getting, kicked out, and they have to keep rejoining, or it's freezing, or something like that. And then the last couple days, the last few streams, I go to hit live, and it's just syncing. It just does that for minutes and minutes and minutes and minutes. And so what I did last night is I planned on getting a bunch of extra sleep, but instead I tried to, I basically had to make the decision to be done with EvMUX, and had to switch to this. So I spent until, I don't know what time, 3 minutes, somewhere around there, basically updating StreamYard as best as I can. So you're going to see some different screens and things like that. I'm testing out some other stuff, but basically I felt bad that the program wasn't doing, it was, the features were nice, the tickers and the little borders and live chat and things like that. So what I did last night is I just went through all the layovers, made scenes in StreamYard, something that is new. Basically tried to do stuff just to try and give you what I could give you in EvMUX. It's just when it comes to the guests, that's where the syncing issues were happening, is because guests were in before the live was on and all this other stuff. And it's such an inconvenience for other people if I have other people on. And so the last thing I want to do is do that. So I basically spent five hours or so really working hard on trying to update StreamYard. So it ain't going to be the cool stuff that EvMUX has, but I tried to do a little extra stuff like, hey, let's make a scene where I'm sharing the live chat, even though StreamYard don't have a live chat option. So I'm going to I'm gonna make one myself, which is what I did. So
It's
they
really
don't
cool.
they don't have an option, but I made one myself. So there you go.
It
Come
looks
on,
good.
thank you. Come on, StreamYard. But um, I wanted to talk about the Bloom stuff. Um, because that's some wild stuff, and it's really unfortunate, especially the response of my mistake.
Right? Yeah. I mean, the least you could do is have like a proper response and a proper apology if you're going to say you made a mistake. But honestly, I don't, I
Well,
really don't know. But the things he said were like, I couldn't even believe it when I first started reading the things that he was saying. I was like, where are you getting this? Like,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. That's just like with riding in the back seat of the car
it's a special skill he has.
to PA. I mean, it's just yeah, because and thank you for dropping that early yesterday morning. Also, it was early morning that the News Nation video came out where Brian Enton was talking about it on News Nation yesterday morning when I seen, because I feel bad, like the last thing that Dr. Ramsland is trying to do is discuss anything about the case,
Yeah.
and because I'm saying it's like 99.9 she's going to be a freaking witness. I mean, she was a professor. Um, so why wouldn't she, or why wouldn't they have her? Like, hey, can you tell us about, his tendencies and what he, this and that. So it's almost guaranteed, and that's why she's never really talked about it or discussed it. And when I seen yesterday her response to Brian Enton with their personal communication and how she had to make a statement and had to talk about certain specifics because he wanted to bring it up. And when I seen that, it was like, man, because we could sit here and we could wonder, well, is it true? Is it not true? Because yeah, it doesn't make sense when you first hear it. Just like some of the other stuff that's been said. But to actually hear a response from her, and Brian Enton shared the personal text message, and that's when I really got upset yesterday morning, and I did that little video, and I held a lot, but I held a lot in, and I edited a lot out because I'm pissed off about this because this is somebody like that has earned so many achievements in life, and you're just gonna trash on her name and act like you know what you're talking about as if it's actual fact and proof, uh and then it's just a theory. It's become reckless, and that's very dangerous, and the reason it makes me upset is because there should be a limit when it comes to journalism. You know what I'm saying? Like, all of us have been, like a year ago, all of us were getting attacked for different things when we're just out there trying to do the right thing. And there's limits to journalism because everybody on YouTube that has a talk show is a journalist in some way. You're reporting on something. You're reporting on something. Whatever that is, cookbook, YouTube video, whatever it is, a bottle of water, you're still reporting. And so there should be limits when it comes to people's reputations and characters. You should have the fucking proof. If you're going to make wild, outlandish accusations, assumptions, generalizations, you should have some kind of documentation to back that up. Otherwise, you should be held to a different standard. Like that's why I'm upset, because it's like, dude, you just got done shooting a bunch of arrows at this lady's achievements and reputation, and then you're just walking away like, oh, sorry, wrong target.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think that it just shows the extent to which people and him don't care about the collateral damage of what they're doing when it comes to this case, like, at all. It's one thing to attack people who are involved, but just to make stuff up to involve people is completely absurd. And I mean, I think that the fact that she had to say something, that she had to send that text and get the message out, shows that it is serious. Like, because for the most part, she would probably just wait for the trial, wait for things to come out, then see if she's cold, see if she's not. But there was an urgency to that. It wasn't very long before she had to get that text out, because that's how serious it is. It's like her entire name. And he doesn't really seem to care. Like, he just, a theory is not, it's not even a theory, it's just a story. Like, I feel like that's what he does. He just makes up stories.
And it's a very damning story.
Right?
Yeah, it is. That's like, because I was telling people before that when I started to read the book or whatever, and when I was seeing the misinformation,
I remember.
Remember, I shut the stream down. I said, I'm deleting it. I'm not going to finish it. There's no way I'm not doing this, because when I'm reading these words that he was writing, how he was like basically telling you how the conversations were going, what the conversations were about in the car, who got upset with who at what point during the drive, who, all of these different things. And I'm sitting here going, how in the hell do you know? And number two, it's not like you were talking to Brian's dad and that's the only person that you would have been able to get that information from, because there's nobody else that was in the vehicle. And I know that Brian's dad isn't talking to you or didn't go into that much detail about this car ride. So I'm like, dude, that's why me and some other people I mean, listen, if you love Blum, that's fine. I don't give a shit. Like what you want. It's not my thing. It's not my life. But at the same time, I don't have to buy into the bullshit, because I know that he knows better. He comes from a generation where you had to, the 60s and the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. Look at what happened to Dan Rather in 2005. This is basically what Dan Rather did, because he was going out to all of these national media sites, going on all these YouTube shows, and then these YouTube shows that he was on promoting this shit. Boom! This is fact. And it's like, this shit is reckless. And this is why it's so reckless, is because Catherine Ramsland, Dr. Catherine Ramsland, didn't do anything. And you know what she's going to have to suffer for the rest of her life? People coming across Howard Blum's story, because he can say, my mistake, and walk away, but people aren't going to come up to that, because that's not going to be the popular tweet or whatever. The popular information is going to be on all these YouTube shows, on all these national media shows, Megyn Kelly, Nancy Grace, all these other people at promoting this, where it's still up there, and people are going to think about that. How many people are going to continue to come across these videos from this point on until even after Catherine is gone. And she's still going to have this narrative. And I really feel like I really feel like it can be damaging to her career and reputation from this point on, because the man came out and said that Brian Koberger's fascination with his teacher is what led to the crime that took place in Idaho. So there's people that are, oh my gosh, what was going on between Brian and the teacher? When this first dropped, about all this stuff, when this first dropped, it was like when this story first started coming out and he's on these YouTube shows talking this same BS. I'm sitting there going, man, next thing you know, he's going to come out and say that it was both ways, that they were infatuated with each other and all this. I bet you it would have if she wouldn't have came out and stopped it where it was at, because look where it was going. Brian's fascination led to the crime in Idaho? The teacher?
Yeah, and honestly, with the tweet that he put out responding to her response, I don't even think that he wants people to see that, because there's so much that he could have done. He could have written an article correcting it. He could have like, I mean, it was just like a half-hearted couple of tweets. I really don't even think that he wants people to see that. I think that he's just obligated to say something.
He has
and
to.
He's going to probably, well, I mean, in my opinion, carry on with what he's doing.
Oh yeah, that's what it is. My mistake.
But nobody even knows about his response.
Is it law enforcement's mistake when they bust into somebody's house and then they get to the person and they go, oh, sorry, wrong house? Is that a mistake? This is somebody's character, reputation, career. And you're right.
Safety.
And safety too, because yes, now people are going to associate her, to sit there and say, oh, she called the family within hours. All of these different things just to make the romance even stronger between the connection between her and Brian.
Yeah.
What the hell, dude? That's why yesterday, I'm sorry, that's why I swore a whole bunch in that video, and I edited a lot of it out, and there's probably some that I had no choice but to leave in, but I literally just hit record and I went the F off because I was like, dude, this is so messed up. And for somebody to be able to just go, oh, my mistake. No.
Yeah.
You didn't just come on the scene, bro, and say, sorry, I didn't learn the playbook yet. You knew the playbook since the 60s, dude. You were born in 48. You were born in 1948. You started your career soon after you graduated, and then college. Dude, you started being a journalist in the late 60s and early 70s, bro. And Dan Rather didn't get shit canned until 2005. Dude, there was so much you had to do back then. You even had a checklist on a piece of damn paper that you had to check off that you did these items so you could turn it in.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like maybe he's struggling to be relevant still. Like, I'm just saying.
Well, he's certainly relevant because he's all over these national media YouTube shows. And how many views have those gotten compared to is there any? Because listen, his response came out yesterday. Was there any other Boom shows that were talking about the fucking response from Blum?
No.
Sorry, guys. The show that we did was no. I'm gonna go ahead and take that down. There was none of that shit. I'm going to go ahead and let you guys know we had him on a couple days ago and he wasn't, it was completely fabricated. What do you think would have happened? Because it happened with other people before it got to me. What do you think would have happened if, remember the Dot? Remember Dot? Remember that story, that narrative, that BS train? It came to this show, even the people on my panel, oh, and I'm sitting there going, no, you can see it in my chat. You guys, CJ isn't believing this shit. Yeah, because, and I didn't. And I got a lot of hate for it because I'm like, this is bullshit. If you're going to believe this shit, go watch cooking shows. Because seriously, like, if you really think that all of that is true and this person is being able to go on YouTube airwaves and spew all of this, get the hell out of here. They'd be a star witness. They'd be shut up. They'd be gagged and they wouldn't be able to say nothing because they wouldn't be able to be a star witness anymore if they're for 1 second they're on a YouTube show or 1 second they're on national media or for 1 second that they do an interview that can be recorded. They're already not a credible witness, people. They're already not a credible witness. And for somebody to have all of that story and to be all over the airwaves and no, that's why I didn't believe it from the start, because I'm like, then they wouldn't be a credible witness anymore in trial. And the defense wouldn't allow that to happen to somebody that has this kind of story. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, even if Catherine Ramsland is saying that she doesn't want to speak just in case she's a witness, I mean, that just shows.
You gotta think.
Yeah.
You gotta think. That's why there's all these people out here that are trying to get you to go goose chasing. Yeah. And this right here is the same kind of thing. That would be like me promoting Dot. Like these people promoted Howard Blum and his information with this case, whether it's on national media or YouTube shows, it'd be the same thing as promoting fucking Dot. I won't allow it. I won't allow it. It's so dangerous. And this woman worked her ass off her whole damn life. You don't know what she went through to be able to achieve what she's done. And for you to trash on it because you want another fucking dollar, bro, because we all know it's about the book. Because you want another dollar. It shouldn't be my mistake. It shouldn't be that easy. He should be held responsible for what he did, because this is not right. This is unfair. And this is forever. People are going to come across this information way after both of them are gone, and they're still going to link her like that with BK, and that is wrong.
Yeah. But I mean, honestly, like, he's gotten away with a lot for a long time. Yeah. And what I'm really glad now is that Brian Anton is on her side, because he said that he knows her and he trusts her. And the article, in his opinion, is not true. And I think that that's a really, really good name to have behind you as well. Like, he believes in her. And that's the only good I can see in all of this. But thank goodness for him as well to get that message out.
Well, he's the only one that, could, because that's the only one that she actually responded to and said, go ahead. I'm sure there's I guarantee you, as the week goes on, this week here goes on, you're going to see colleagues come out of Dr. Catherine Ramsland, and they're going to come out and attest to her character and who she is and all of this other stuff. So I guarantee that, and shout out to, and that's why I thanked Brian Enton for that, because, this is so wrong, man. Imagine if she wouldn't have came out and said something, and, the fact that these national media and these other platforms sit there and host and promote all of this stuff. Yo, the reason I have to leave the dot video from my show is because other people wanted to make videos of it and twist it around and manipulate the audio to make it sound, like, no, you got to leave that up there because people need to see how fake it is.
Right. Right. I mean, and mainstream media have taken videos down before when, things in there they weren't sure about. So
they're not gonna.
Yeah.
They're not gonna.
I know. And I don't know what it is about him and his reputation, but he has all of this respect. And
he does.
Yeah.
I've had guests on my show, and that love Howard Blum, and I'm sitting there, and this is after I read I read that story about the drive back to PA, and I'm sitting there telling these people, like, I'm sorry, like, I get that's cool, you know, if you love him, you love him, but I said, look, when somebody's telling me a story and they're talking about it like it's evidence and fact, and this is what they're I'm sorry. Why else would I shut down my stream and delete my video after it was over and not continue with the book? I was going to read that whole book for you guys in different parts because y'all kept asking me to read a damn book. So I'm like, I'll read this book, right? I'll read this book. I don't know what to read. I'll read this book. I was going to make a series out of it. After that first cup, I'm like, no, I can't do this. This is not right. This is not right.
Yeah, one of the things that I kind of find the most irritating about him as well, and he mentioned in the aftermath of that book as well, is that every time he's kind of even slightly feeling like somebody's going to call him out on it, then he'll just say, it's just a theory, it's just an opinion, it's slightly changed, like, I was just making a story about it, and that's all he needs to say to get away with it every time. And he's been like just riding on that this whole time. This is, I think, the first time he's actually being called out. Like there could be ramifications for this, I think.
No, you just went like that.
Yeah. I mean, I hope that she sees to it.
Yeah.
Like that her true story, or not story, but at least her statement is like properly out there, and that a lot of people get to see it.
Yeah, and she shouldn't have even had to, but really the totality of it is from this day forward, and even long after they both pass away, the people are going to see this stuff about this fascination, and there's going to be some people that are going to blame her.
Yeah, it's done now. Yeah.
And even with the statement that she came out with, even with Howard Blum's sorry, my mistake, it doesn't matter. This is, like I said, look at all the national media videos that are out on these social media networks. Look at all these people on social media platforms that have had this gentleman that has hosted this information being spewed and splattered all over like it's actual information, evidence, and all these other things. And then this is the thing, oh, sorry, my mistake. This is, when we go back to all of this crazy stuff, like, in the beginning when Banfield had a source close to the investigation, or even recently, like, with some of the stuff that Steve G has been talking about, it makes you wonder, is this the person that is the one that is spreading that information, Rosee? Is Howard Blum the one that is telling Steve G certain things? I know he's saying he's getting emails from FBI and law enforcement, stuff. He already admitted that. But what I'm saying is like some of the wild ass shit, I'm wondering if it's coming from Bloom. I'm wondering if some of the other stuff that these content creators are coming up with is from Bloom. I want, just don't say I'm the source. This is, and then Banfield, a source close to the investigation.
Honestly, I thought about that too. I thought about like if he's at least part of it. Like I figured maybe it's more than one person, but it like early on with this as well, it also occurred to me that like there's something in common there. There's something, because I mean, just the craziness of the things that are being said, that's like a theme in itself.
Well, remember when Steve G, he was doing that interview and he said he made the excuse of I must have read that somewhere.
Yeah.
When it came to the Wi-Fi pinging.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me wonder if, look, I it could be, Ellie trying to fib him up or something, but at the same time, who's to say that Howard Bloom didn't tell him or write to him, hey, that his Wi-Fi pinged there and this and that, and then that's where he quote read it. He read it from Howard Bloom. I don't know. It's just weird, like all this stuff, and then all of this other crazy stuff, and all the crazy stuff that Banfield in the beginning was talking about. She even admits to it in a video we're going to get into here in a second. She even admits how many times they got burned in the beginning because they were saying false information. Like there was a victim's ID in the glove in the box that they found in the Pennsylvania search. There was an ID from the victim, one of the victims. Like she reported that information from a source close to the investigation back then. There was a lot of stuff that they were putting out there. That's why I backed away from News Nation in late 22, early 23. I was like, whoa, okay, I'm going to go ahead and back away from you because you're saying some crazy stuff. But yeah, she even admits to it herself. We got burned plenty of times in the beginning. Yeah, it makes me wonder when you're listening to what she's saying. It made me wonder, is that who she was getting it before? Because she mentions how many times they got burned before, and look at what they're talking about now. How he just burned a whole community because Catherine Ramsland actually had to come out and say, no, this is not true.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's possible. I think it's possible that he's involved, or somebody, is putting other people up to it. I don't know, but I think there is an involvement at least, because the Wi-Fi and the ID and all of that stuff, it's along the same lines, and you have to wonder, like, who comes up with those, where, why? It's not even like it's an accident.
No. And when he was reporting this stuff about the Ramsland fascination, look at how it blew up on YouTube and how many people were doing shows about it.
I know.
Like it was true. Like it was true and real.
Yeah. Without any evidence mentioned.
When all you have to do is think, look, like I said, and that's why I referenced when I read that story, Shut the Show Down, ended, because I shut it down. I shut the show down. I'm like, I'm not doing this show. I shut it down, deleted the video, said, sorry, guys, you're going to have to check it out somewhere else. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? These people, that's when I knew better, because I'm like, dude, how can you come up with this story about the backs like you're in the back seat and you're in their brains? I'm like, no, I can't trust this. People should have known better a long time ago, and people still were doing these shows like boom, all, and I'm just like, where is y'all are supposed to be you know, you're all supposed to have these careers with all these achievements too, people, and you don't smell the hot dog steak. It makes me wonder what the fuck's going on with your achievements. Like I wonder with Howard Bloom. Honestly, seriously, because if it takes a dude that don't have those kind of achievements to smell the fucking hot dog steak before somebody that does have those achievements, maybe it's called real life that I
It's
had
instinct.
to grow up and learn before I even had to go to fucking school.
Yeah. And I mean, you would hope that it's also not, but people are just kind of looking the other way because it's the popular thing to talk about and just like, you know, accept it.
There's a hot dog steak t-shirt if you're interested. But I'm just like, how can you not? How can you not? Taya, thank you. I deleted the comment. That's something we don't discuss or ever have really even gotten into on the show. And just with the keywords, I want to try and make sure that we can get it out to as many people as possible, because it's about the awareness of the injustice that's going on with this, and that's what's the most important. So no, that's not something we discussed in a previous show. That's not something we'll ever really discuss, honestly, for any of the shows coming up in the future. So that won't be a topic. All right, so I want to share that video with you guys. First, I want to share this little video from Brian Enton. Okay. This was on Twitter. Let me see. I don't remember. May 4th, 7 p.m. He was on location somewhere. Why is it not sharing? There we go. He was on location somewhere, but he wanted to come out and say, because he knows Catherine Ramsland personally, Dr. Catherine Ramsland personally. He knows that she can't say nothing, that she hasn't wanted to say anything. But at the same time, with the stuff that Howard Bloom was coming out and discussing, I'm sure, because it's a text message that he got from Ramsland. It's not like Ramsland put out a Twitter message. It was actually a text message that she had sent to Brian Enton, and also gave him permission to go ahead and let people know that no, this is what the truth is, and this is what needs to be promoted. So that's where this comes from. Then we're going to get into the News Nation interview, and then after that, we're going to get to the interview that the Goncalves family had. They said some really interesting things too on that interview. We're going to check that out. We're not going to have the whole thing in its entirety. We're not even going to have the video of it. We have an audio only version that we're going to be playing for you. If you want to hear it at the regular speed and you want to watch the whole video in its entirety, and regardless, I encourage you to go sub up to the channel that we're going to be using, and also go leave some love and support in their comment section on the video, because hitting that like, subbing, and showing some support in the comment section always helps the videos get out there for anybody. All right, so this is from yesterday, and he wanted to come out, or no, this was the night before, in May 4th, and he wanted to come out and say this, and then also let people know, like, no, this is not true, this is wrong. And I hope, I don't know, I hope the right thing happens, and I hope people wake up and see, maybe he did something in 1973, but this is not what you do, especially to other people that have high regards in communities when it comes to their character and their integrity and their ethic. I think it's a bunch of shit. So here we go. Here's this.
Hey guys, I hope everybody's doing well. I wanted to get on here and address something. It seems like as we get closer to the Bryan Kohberger trial, there's been more and more speculation and rumors and just bad facts in certain articles that are out there. And I wanted to talk about something in particular. There was an article that was published recently about Dr. Catherine Ramsland. And if you've been following, you know Dr. Ramsland is a professor at DeSales University in Pennsylvania. She was Bryan Kohberger's professor when he was getting his master's degree in criminology when he was in Pennsylvania, before he went to Washington State University where he was getting his PhD. And we've known that. And this article claims, among many things, that Dr. Ramsland has been in touch with Bryan Kohberger, even recently while he's in jail, and a bunch of other things too, that she's been close with the family. And it speculates that that the motive could possibly be that Bryan Kohberger was trying to impress Dr. Ramsland. I know Dr. Ramsland, okay, so I'm going to be totally upfront about that.
And that's so unfair because there's so many people that are going to blame Catherine Ramsland for Bryan's obsession to commit the crime all the way across the country. That's the unfortunate part. She's now there's going to be people that blame her for it, and
damage is done. Yeah.
I want to say so much more, but I can't because YouTube will penalize me for it. I'm serious. I'm serious. Like, I've had to keep my mouth shut a couple times because the legal shit.
I've gotten to know her over the last several years. I've interviewed her for stories. I've always found her to be a very, very credible, nice, honest person. And she has told me that she doesn't want to talk on the record about Bryan Kohberger. So she's told me all along until after the trial, because she might be a witness. She doesn't want to interfere with the trial. She obviously knew Bryan Kohberger. She was his professor. So she is saying but she is now talking on the record about some of this to me, because she is saying that what is in this article is not true. And I'm going to read you what Dr. Ramsland texted me. I had no email correspondence with Bryan Kohberger while he was at WSU, Washington State University. So that's where he was getting his PhD. He has not been in touch with me since his arrest. It's a big point, because that's totally different than what was published. I called his parents as a gesture of kindness, but I do not advise them about the case. I did not call them hours after the arrest, as Blum claims. I have never talked to his sister about any book. I never mentioned Kierkegaard in my classes. I did not broker anything regarding a lawyer. I have not been invited by the Kohbergers to Idaho. I don't know where they'll be staying. I don't know who Blum's source is or why he reports information for which he has no proof. Some of this stuff, if you're not following, you can go back and read the article and you'll know what she's talking about specifically. So again, I know Dr. Ramsland. I have no reason not to believe her. And I don't think she's lying, and so I don't think the article is correct. And I just wanted to put that out there. And I think I want to correct things as we get closer to the trial. So I hope everybody's doing well.
Yeah. And shout out to him for doing that, man.
Yeah.
Because he didn't have to. He didn't have to. And for him to come out and make that announcement, and I feel so bad because she, I remember when he first got arrested. It was days after we found out, that he went to DeSales University, and we found out who the professor is, and we found out, who she was. We even did a show on her in the very beginning there. We even did a show on her. My gosh. I might have to do a revisit on that because I remember, yeah, I completely forgot. We did a show on her in the very beginning because it was like, ooh, let's see who this professor is. Kind of like we did with Ann Taylor when we found out that day he was arrested that Ann Taylor was representing him. We're like, who in the hell is this? Because her client was still in frickin' Pennsylvania and she was shutting down a cleaning crew at 11:22 already, and we're like, damn, you're just a public defender. Usually you guys just look for plea deals. You're not, I'm just
Yeah.
yeah, so I was like, who the hell is this? Damn, I'm gonna have to look up to see when we did that. I know it was, I mean, first couple months of 2023, because he got arrested a couple days before the new year, so it was right there, the early. I'm gonna have to check that out. But yeah, it's just now she's gonna be blamed for it. She was from back then, because I reached out back then when I did the show on her. I reached out and wanted to try and talk to her, and it was one of those things where, like, after a couple months, you're like, oh yeah, you know what? Like, she'll probably end up being a witness or whatever. And you could tell there was so many people that were inviting her to come on shows, and she was never going on any shows. And if she was going on shows, then she would only talk about other cases. She wouldn't be on the Idaho 4 shows. She would be on other shows like Surviving the Survivor and things like that. But she would not talk Idaho 4. So you pretty much knew, she was trying to stay away from it, which you should, because the last thing that you want to do is taint the jury or the trial in any way possible, or have any kind of negative effect on the justice taking place. And so I applaud her for that, because I'm sure she wanted to come out, especially with all this other stuff that people were promoting. I'm sure she wanted to come out and maybe make some statements, but she had to, she had to, internally, she wanted to make sure she didn't mess anything up, because it's not about her or anybody else. It's about the victims and the justice for them, and that's what's important. So
yeah, and I mean, she obviously would have a really, really good understanding of the justice system, like more than an average person, I guess, as well. So that just adds to it.
Yeah, it's so dangerous. So you're gonna hear Ashley say that they got burned a few times already. It just makes you wonder. All right, here's more on that, and then you'll see Blum's response to her response. And think about this is this gaslighting behavior. Okay, think about like any of these other cases we're talking about. You got the Micah Miller case. Is it okay for JP to say all these things about Micah, these outlandish rumors that are just absolutely not true, that can affect her character, her reputation and career, and then just be like, sorry, my mistake? Were you guys down with that? No. How could you could compare it to any of these cases when it comes to this situation, the gaslighting, and that's what's taking place. He gaslit not only the community, because he came out and reported it like it's information, but he also gaslit Ramsland big time. I got to keep my mouth shut. And I'm no way saying that anybody should go send any kind of hateful messages to anybody that's in discussions today. I got to keep my mouth shut.
When it comes to getting a murder conviction, motives are like bodies. Very helpful to a case, but not mandatory. Prosecutors convict murder suspects all the time without knowing why the killer did it. And for more than 2 years now, it has looked like the quadruple murders at the University of Idaho may be another case in point. For all the evidence that we've seen in court papers so far, evidence that points to a suspect with the means and the opportunity to commit this horrendous crime, we've seen next to nothing about a motive, an alleged reason as to why Bryan Kohberger, who's charged with this, would want those 4 innocent kids dead in such a violent and bloody way. But now, with Kohberger's trial just 3 months away, there is one reporter who says he thinks he knows what prosecutors are planning to present in the way of motive. His name is Howard Blum, and his
See, that's going to be their motive, is that his fascination. It's going to be the prosecution's motive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Remember, he can read minds.
This dude is. It's just. Listen, you should have known a long time ago when he talked like he was in the back seat of Bryan Kohberger's car. Just saying, you should have known.
His article appears in an online newsletter called Airmail. In it, Blum suggests that prosecutors think Kohberger went to monstrous and unthinkable extremes to impress a woman. And not just any woman, a woman you have seen on this program many times, Katherine Ramsland. Dr. Ramsland was one of Kohberger's professors back at DeSales University in Pennsylvania. When Bryan Kohberger earned a master's degree in criminal justice, it was at DeSales. Ramsland teaches forensic psychology and has written more than 50 books. According to the article, prosecutors are preparing to tell the jury, and I quote, "The pupil was ready to become the teacher. He'd kill and get away with it. He'd prove how smart he was."
It's just, yeah, we're going to get into that episode here soon. It's just crazy, this crap.
He would show how much he'd learned.
She's going to be blamed for
The
it.
article also suggests that Dr. Ramsland and Kohberger stayed in touch after he left DeSales University and moved out west, that they emailed each other after the murders, and that Ramsland called Kohberger's mother after he was arrested. So what does Dr. Ramsland say about the story and all the details contained within it? Not quite. That's my summary. I'm joined now by my News Nation colleague, Brian Enton. Brian, whenever there's a big Kohberger story that drops, people go bananas, the internet, lights on fire. But we've been burned on some of these before. So talk to me about how Dr. Ramsland is responding to Howard Blum's report.
Yeah, actually, we really have to be careful with some of these reports as we get closer to the trial, because Dr. Ramsland is saying that most of what is in this new report is just flat out not true. Now, of course, Dr. Ramsland was Bryan Kohberger's professor in Pennsylvania. When he got his bachelor's, she was his forensic psychology professor. When he got his master's, she was his behavioral criminology professor. But in terms of this whole love story and the fact that they have been in communication, she says, just flat out wrong. Let me read you a statement that we got from Dr. Ramsland that really sums some of this up. She says, "I had no email correspondence with Bryan Kohberger while he was at WSU." So that right there, I mean, the article said she did. She says flat out no email correspondence with Bryan Kohberger while he was at WSU.
So
he has
dangerous.
not been in touch with me since his arrest. I called his parents as a gesture of kindness, but I do not advise them about the case. I did not call them hours after the arrest, as Blum claims. I have never talked to his sister about any book. That was something that came up in the article. I never mentioned Kierkegaard in my classes, another thing that came up in the article. I did not broker, which is a word that Blum used, anything regarding a lawyer. I have not been invited.
Broker, like he accused her of brokering a deal.
Yeah,
using her influence to gain a competitive advantage. It's
he's unbelievable.
It's so reckless, man. And what did she do, man? She's such a sweet lady. If you've ever watched any of her appearances on any of these shows, she's such a sweet lady, man.
Yeah.
And it's so unfortunate, man. So unfortunate.
By the Kobergers to Idaho. I don't know where they'll
She's
be
such
staying.
a sweet lady.
I don't know who Blum's source is or why he reports information for which he has no proof. So that's what she's saying. I think what stands out to me the most, Ashley, is she is flat out saying that she has had no email correspondence with Brian Koberger while he was at WSU and has not been in touch with him since the arrest, which Blum said literally the opposite in his article.
And I'm saying I have to question everything that this man has ever written on a piece of paper or said.
Ever. Yeah.
I have to. I have to. Because
yeah, I mean, like if there's a problem with the integrity in one area, why would it be any different in all the others?
he would know better, Kathy. He was born in 1948. He was a journalist in the late 60s, early 70s, starting out, and he's been around the game. It's like I've told people, if you go back to journalism back then, they literally had a checklist on a piece of paper of shit that they had to check off and then turn it in when it came to their information of what they're reporting. Like it's called accountability, people. There was a lot of it. And it's why I refer to Dan Rather in 2005. Remember, Dan Rather had been around since the early 70s and the 60s, right? The same thing. And look what happened to Dan Rather. He reported on some information that was not factual, went on to national airwaves, reported it as fact, and then found out, no, it was not true. It was just some crazy manipulated story in fabrication, and I reported it without, any kind of journalistic integrity involved, and look what happened. He got shit canned. Like, that dude had way more achievements than Blum. Dan Rather. Way more achievements than Blum. And Dan Rather got shit canned for the same thing that Howard Blum just did to Catherine Ramsland.
Yeah, and I mean, he didn't even stop there. I honestly think that the right thing to do after all of that would have been to reach out to Brian Enton or something and issue a proper apology and direct it at her instead of doing some half-hearted random tweet.
When you this is the thing, and this is why you don't see accountability in his response, because if he was about that, he wouldn't have went to the lengths that he went to in the first place. You only go to those lengths if you don't have accountability. Because because I'm sure you're talking to other people before you go on the airwaves, and there's probably other people that are like, where'd you get that information? Well, that's just one of my theories. I don't know if I'd say that. I don't know if I'd mention that, Howard. There's no accountability. I mean, here's his response. Let me know where the accountability is in this response, because I don't see it.
If you can find it, let us know.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I just said if you can find the accountability, let us know. I didn't see it either.
No, it's not there.
See, the next and natural question would be, is Howard Blum responding to Dr. Ramsland's very pointed statement?
Yes, I'm just going through my phone because he did tweet out today. Catherine Ramsland has issued a statement about my recent piece. He says she confirmed she reached out to BK's parents after arrest. She refutes that BK emailed her while at WSU. And then he says, I apologize for that error. Again,
okay. He said that she reached out hours after his arrest. Or he said He said she reached out hours after his arrest. And she said, I did not reach, even though, yes, I did ultimately reach out. It had nothing to do with any of the stuff that you're claiming, and it was not the timeline that you said it took place. So instead of him saying, well, okay, I got the time wrong, what? Well, she confirmed that she reached out to him. No accountability. In fact, that's a check mark for me, guys.
Right.
Like he was. That's one honest part. What, dude? What?
Yeah, no. He makes it sound like she's admitted something.
Right. When she's no, that didn't happen the way you said it happened, Howard. Oh, yep. See, I'm right. Then it says she refutes that BK emailed her while at WSU. I apologize for that error. Dude, you said it like how no accountability, dude. None.
And that was a big part of the story. Catherine Ramsland states she didn't demand that BK parents get her approval before meeting PA lawyer. I never wrote that. Nevertheless, they did.
Nevertheless, they did.
But she didn't even say that he said that. She just said broker. Like.
And then he talks about, oh my gosh, look at him turn around. Dude. This is abusive behavior. You do something wrong, you don't own up to it, and then you turn it around on them at the end. What the fuck? That's some manipulated, twisted, abusive behavior right there. Wow, look at this shit. Look at number 4.
Chapter on her student BK in her forthcoming book, that we don't know. And then Catherine Ramsland states,
see, he said that we don't know. So as far as Brianette knows or anybody else knows, because she didn't say she was writing a book. So he literally flipped it around and turned it around back onto her. Can't wait to read it.
Sarcastically. Yeah, I mean, that's very manipulative.
It makes me wonder what this guy's really like behind the camera. Puffing on cigars, treating women like shit.
Well, I mean, this is just so passive aggressive, saying I can't wait to read it. It's like
that's it. Okay, it's one thing to not admit to your mistake. It's another thing to then turn it back around on the victim. She's a victim in this.
Yeah.
And now he turned it back around on her. Right, Snowpia? Has he suffered head trauma? No, for real.
No, I've been wanting to say that, but it was just like,
right here.
Don't say that. Yeah.
To turn it back around on the victim? Bro. She did nothing wrong, and now you're trashing her even more.
Yeah, it's very direct of him also to not just say BK, but to say her student BK, to make sure that it's like they're strongly connected as well. It sounds like he's accusing her of something, just like
it's
by saying her student. Yeah,
it's victim bashing, Rosee.
Yeah,
it's victim bashing.
Yeah,
this is like, oh my God, this is nuts. There's just no accountability.
Her forthcoming book, that we don't know. And then Catherine Ramsland states she never taught Kierkegaard in her class to BK. I never said she did. I think she missed the point of my reference. And then he says, I will stand by my hypothesis just as that, a theory.
So he's not retracting anything at all. And his excuse is that it's a theory.
Dude, this behavior right here. That's just she's already a victim. You already damaged her reputation, her, who knows, it might even, her career.
Yeah, it's completely out of hand.
You defame her for no reason. You defame her for no reason. You go on all these other fucking YouTube shows and all these other national media shows promoting it like it's true. How many people, look at how many YouTubers alone have the picture of Koberger and Catherine Ramsland, this photo, the picture from the Airmail article. And and you got all the jaw-dropping details, and all this other stuff, and he's just up there sucking up all the attention, going on national media, sucking up all the attention, talking about how this is true. Yeah, I mean, hell, for Catherine to finally have to come out and make a statement through Brian Enton because it's being talked about so much about how it's true. I'm just going to be honest. I'm shocked he didn't get a letter from the lawyer, and maybe he did.
Maybe. Or will, or something. But I mean, I think this really is showing him for who he really is. If anybody wasn't sure before.
Oh, for sure.
It's
for
getting
sure.
more and more clear.
Yeah, because you can literally victim bash the day after she comes out with a statement. You're gonna flip it around and turn it around on her.
And I mean, we don't know. Sorry. Like Brian Enton says, we don't know if she's writing a book. We don't know if there's a chapter on DK in her book, like anything like that. Even in the event that were true, which, I mean, I'm not even saying that it is, there's still so much more integrity than releasing your book with fake information before the trials even happened. I mean, just compare the two books. Not that I'm saying the one book actually exists, but even if it did, like, you can see the difference and the contrast. And he's like attacking her for it.
Yeah. And turning it around back on her. I heard she's got a book. Can't wait to read it. Sure, it'll be perceptive.
Yeah, what is actually meant by that? Sure, it will be perceptive. Like, that's just reaffirming his claims. Like
it's going to be insightful when it comes. He is Beckles. Trust me, there's so many things I wish I could say, but I have to be careful.
Yeah.
But this right here, and this is why, like I said, I smelled this hot dog steak a long ass time ago, riding in the back of Koberger's car. It's why I even had conversations with other people on my shows when the whole Howard Blum conversation would get brought up and how people would love him and his, journalistic integrity. And I'm like, look, who comes up with the story? And they're like, hey, and some people would get mad at me. And I'm like, look, I mean, if you want to believe his shit, go ahead. But I have to consider what this dude says with a grain of salt after this. And then when this comes out, I mean, hell, when did we even we did that show together, right? When the Howard Blum book, when we started to read it and I shut it down. How long ago was that? That was a long ass time ago.
Yeah, it was definitely a couple of months ago.
Oh, it was more than that. I think it was like, it had to be right around when we first met.
No. Definitely not that long ago. But I mean, it was shortly after the book came out. So I'll just find out when the book came out. And then it would have been in that week.
Yeah, because it was like right after. I thought it was a really long time ago. Yeah, it'd be interesting. So, I don't know. It's. I just feel so bad for her. She's such a sweet lady. And for him to do this, it's uncalled for people to consider him credible. I don't know. I just can't.
The book came out on the 25th of June 2024, and I know that we covered it very soon after it came out, so it's going on a year ago.
Oh, okay. So about a year ago.
Yeah.
I don't even think I saved a copy of it, because even the stuff I'll delete, I'll save a copy of it. I don't even think I saved a copy.
I know I was struggling to get it because I wanted to buy a copy. So you sent me excerpts from it.
That's right. I sent you all the pages.
Yeah, because every time I tried, it was saying not available in your country. So I couldn't read it.
And right. I did a video clicking through it so you could take
screenshots. Thank you, by the way.
Right. Yeah, that was like a 30-minute video of me just clicking through like how many pages was that too that I did
the whole book.
How many pages was that? I can't remember because it was like a 30-minute video where I'm literally click every like 2 seconds. I'm just clicking to the next page because Rosee couldn't get the book. So I'm like, all right, I'll make a video and I'll just click every 2 seconds. You just screenshot it and you know. Yeah,
Thank
that
you,
was, oh yeah,
that helped. I got to read the whole book.
It took a little while, trust me.
I'm sorry.
No, but no, because it was important, you know. Yeah, that's right. I remember that now. That's funny. I bet I saved that. I bet I saved that somewhere.
I hope so. It was an excellent read. Just click.
Sure I did. All right, so we can go ahead and be done. But yeah, like I said, and it's just unfortunate. And I'm sure all these videos are still, you know, all of them.
Yeah.
National media, social media.
I think there's even some coming out since she said something, so it's being ignored by some channels.
Yeah. Nobody even really talked about it. I mean, we were the first video yesterday that was discussing it, and then some other ones started to shortly after that started to come out and discuss it, but really not too many people were talking about it yesterday, even the whole exchange.
It's important. It's really important.
And then like with today, I haven't even, with the screenshots and the response from Howard Blum, I think we're the first one. I think I've even seen in chat where nobody's even discussing it right now, and we're the only ones that had discussed it this morning. So it's like, I wish people would talk about it more, honestly, because this is wrong. This is wrong. Like she did nothing to you. You made her a victim, already defamed her, and then after she comes out and says that, you're wrong, you come back with sarcastic non-accountability and then victim bashing because you turn it right back around on her and then make it seem like she's the bad person again because you say that she's got a book coming out and you can't wait to read the chapter on BK. It's going to be a good one. Like it's just really deceptive. I hope more people talk about it today and I hope, because she deserves a hell of a, she didn't deserve any of this at all. Nobody does. And for somebody to go that length and to do that, it's absolutely wrong. It should be discussed a hell of a lot more, and I hope more people talk about it. And it's not getting, I mean, that video yesterday that I did only had a couple hundred views. It wasn't even like, so it's like, people need to know about this stuff, man. It's not right. Let me see here. We got the audio version. I want to pull up here 1 second. Is there anything else you want to mention about the Blum Ramsland stuff? We'll go ahead and get into the video here. So this is an audio version of the interview, and I'll be playing it at 1.25. And then also I'll share the link to the episode. 1 second here. So here is the full episode. Like I said, we're not doing the whole thing. We have audio only, and it's going to be played at a different speed, 1.25. And so if you want to watch the whole video, see the video, actual video, and then have it at normal speed, and even if, I'd encourage you to go sub up. And I'm going to drop the link to the actual video here so you can go sub up, and also drop a like on the video and leave a heartfelt comment in the comment section of their video, thanking them for their time and their efforts. So here's the link for this. What's up, Kristi? And good morning, everybody else. Thank you for hopping in. Beckles, if it comes back not guilty because watching them the other night channel, it was heartbreaking. I know, Beckles, but this is what people have to understand, all right? Say you got a corrupt law enforcement, right? What's up, Scott? Say you got a corrupt law enforcement, okay? And it's a small town, and they're the ones that are handling your child's case. You've already come out in the beginning, and you were demanding that they come out with information. You were the one finding information. You were the one getting close to the justice. You got law enforcement coming out and telling you all of this extra stuff just to woo you, to make you shut up, to make you stop going out and trying to find information, to make you stop going out on social platforms to say whatever, okay? They want to woo you, so they're gonna think about it'd be like some guy or girl just dying for your love and attention, and but you're resisting. They're gonna like woo the shit out of you. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna go extra and beyond. They might even tell you shit that's not even true. You know what I'm saying? You get it? So when you look at it that way, they wanted to woo him. They're gonna give him extra. They're gonna do that kind of thing. And so when you're forced with, okay, if these people didn't handle it right, who is gonna be able to handle it right? You know what I'm saying? When there's not enough proof to show, even though we know, hello, DNA Dirty Gloves, even though we know that there is proof of a shitty investigation, they still have to hold out hope, because that's the only way that they can get justice. So when they're being wooed by law enforcement and there's nobody else, because there's nobody else coming in to take over the investigation. So if there's nobody else coming over to take over the investigation, you're getting wooed with all this stuff that you think is true. Just wait till trial. There's so much, Steve and Kristi. Just wait. Trust us. You have to hold out hope that these people, it's blinded. It's almost like when somebody becomes blinded by love. They look past all the bullshit that they get treated with because they just love that person. You're blinded by love. They're blinded because of the woo. They're blinded because they have no choice but to trust that they're gonna do the right thing because they keep being told, trust us, just wait till trial. And they always said that. But listen, this is what I want people to understand. And I'm glad they came out and did this interview we're going to go over. I'm glad that they came out and made these statements too, because you're starting to see, just like when the 911 call and the text messages got released. Well, how come those were released, law enforcement? All of these things, right? Now they're starting, even though they got to hold out hope and trust that the investigators did the right thing and they're telling the truth. They just have to wait till trial. But now that we're not even in trial and things are starting to come out where the whole public's been like, whoa, why is this sealed? And now they're starting to come out and say, because remember when we were asking, how come 911 calls sealed? How come the transcripts are sealed? We're asking that in the very beginning. They weren't asking it. But guess what happened? When it finally came out in court documents where they got to see, because they were told, just wait till trial, Steve. Just wait till trial, Kristi, while they were still sealed. Once they became unsealed, that's when he's like, wait a minute. Why were these even sealed?
Yeah.
It's what's good. And that's what I'm saying. They were told, just like all this other stuff, just wait till trial. We have so much. And then when it finally starts to come out, now you're starting to hear them question some things. Both of them. Even Steve G said that they're going to pursue legal action against the state of Idaho when it comes to the whole gag order and how they can use it and how far it can go. And I applaud him for it, because honestly, I think any of these cases should have limited gag orders, because it should be out there in the public because of stuff like what's happening with this case. It's been how many years now he's been sitting in jail? 2.5?
Yeah.
Yeah. And now we're seeing stuff that shouldn't have been sealed. Where's the homework? Now we're seeing this. That's unfortunate. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, imagine how betrayed they would feel when those things start coming out and they've been reassured like that the whole time. I can imagine it would make them question things a lot.
It would have to.
Yeah.
It would have to, because, they were probably, hey, we can't talk about it. Just trust us. And then when they come out, that's why Shannon Gray was like, that first interview they came out with, Shannon Gray was pissed.
Mm-hmm.
Good morning, Gray. Shannon Gray was pissed. They were all pissed. And I guarantee you, the more of these documents come out, you're going to hear, I don't know how these people can come up with these manipulations on these court documents. It's because we're not coming up with manipulations. It's because we're not wooed that it's 150% Brian Kohberger. And that's why we read the documents like we read them. And so I think that the projection of that really was like, no, if we're about it being whoever it is, just that it's the right person. And that's how you should approach it, right? No fault of her own. I'm not saying anything in a negative way, and that's no fault of her own. But you already know that it's already 150% BK all day. So you're going to read because you have emotions tied into it. We don't have emotions tied into it because who are we going to tie the emotion to? There's no name. She has emotions tied to it because there is a name attached to her emotions. And that's how you can read and interpret these documents differently. Just like if somebody was sending you a text message, that's why text message is a bad way to communicate, because when you're trying to let somebody know what you're saying, they're putting their own emotions into your words because they're the ones that are reading the words to themselves. And so they're adding their own emotions. That's why it can be bad when it comes to communication, because I can say one thing to you in text message, and depending on your mood, it can completely change what is being said. When if you just heard my vocals and my expressions and my emotions behind my own words, then you get the true message. And it's the same thing. It's the same thing. And so when you're looking at the documents, when you have emotion, your own emotion tied to it, of course, you're going to interpret them one way, and you're going to think that everybody's reading these documents and they're coming up with these crazy ass things and this and that. And it's like, come on, people. And it's like, no. It's because we don't have names attached to it. What we do have is justice for the victim, and that's all that matters. And so it can be Jim Bob, Joe Schmo, BK, whatever. It could be whatever. The important thing is that it's the person that committed the crime, because if it's not, then there is no justice, period. All right, so I'm gonna share this link again. This is the full episode. We're not going to go into the full episode. We're playing at 1.25, and we're just going to have the audio up for you guys. Let me go ahead and switch this as we get into it. And thank you all for being here. And I apologize about the stuff with EVMUX. Worked my ass off last night and through the early morning to try and update this as much as possible for you guys. So I hope that you all enjoy it. What's up, Michael? Says, if the trial is televised, I listened to all the evidence. Exactly. That's what I'm saying, because it's like I've told people, look, I've done a show for a couple years, 3 years, 2 years, where 3 years where it's about, who the justice for the victim. And so I've always said look, when it comes to trial, it doesn't make sense right now. What I'm reading, what I'm seeing doesn't make sense right now. But when it comes to trial, because listen, I wasn't there. I wasn't in the room. I wasn't in the vehicle. I didn't see the weapon. I didn't see the crime. But I'm going to tell you, if something don't make sense, if I smell a hot dog steak, I'm going to tell you I smell a hot dog steak. But if I come across it and I see, oh, wow, there is evidence that shows that this took place, I guarantee it. Yes, he should be in fucking prison, and I'll scream that from the mountaintops, because what I'm screaming from the mountaintops, ultimately, whether I'm questioning evidence or whether somebody is being shown as being guilty, the main thing that I'm screaming at the top of that mountain is justice for the victim. That's why I can scream at the top of the mountain no matter what, when it comes to the evidence or when it comes to the person being proof of the crime, because it is always about that justice. And thank you for the new sub, Scott. I appreciate it very much. All right, this is the audio version. Is there anything you want to mention before we get into this, Rosee? And thank you for being up here. If you're not subbed to her, here's her link. Let's see here. What's up, KB? And thank you all for being here. The back and forth. Yeah. Yeah, I know. So that's another thing. You know what I mean? You're seeing like the 8-hour delay.
Yeah.
Constant. I just, that'll be I've already ranted on that. I don't want to fill up.
We all have.
trust me, you can go back to you can check out the or wait, Rosee, you did a highlight, right, of the 911 call breakdown? Let me
Yes,
share
I did.
let me share that real quick so people can check that out. Cuz I think I went on the rant on that one, didn't I?
Mm-hmm. I left all the good parts of the rant in there.
Hold on one second. Let me so here, do this real quick. Go sub up to the interview room. Leave a heartfelt message in the comments section. Drop a like over there. You'll have time to do that. Come on back. Make sure you click live chat because it always defaults to top chat for some reason. So go click on that real quick. You're going to have time. I'm going to get this link for Rosee's. Or do you have the video? Can you drop the link to it
Yeah, let me do it quickly. It should be easier for me to find.
In the private chat? Or you could drop it in the chat yourself because you can drop links in chat if you want.
Okay.
But definitely go check that out, the 911 call breakdown. And yeah, I go on a rant. And I might upset some people, but it is what it is. I'm just speaking honest truth. And I'm coming from a good place.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to haunt you. You know what I'm saying? I want to cross over. I want to have fun in the clouds, jamming on my guitar, singing my music, just doing fun stuff. I want to do that. I don't want to be in a dark place and be in a bad mood all the time because somebody could have called 911 and left me to die instead. That's supposed to be one of my friends. I don't want to do that. There's the link.
Nobody does.
The 911 call breakdown, and I need to click on that myself so I want to listen to that again, honestly. So let me save it. Yeah, I'm going to save that again real quick because I want to listen to that. I need to go back and find that Ramsland episode that we did way back in the day.
I haven't seen that.
In the beginning of 2023. Yeah. It was an episode just about Ramsland. What's up, AR buddy? Good morning to you. Appreciate you. All right. So there's that link. And okay, so here's the audio. Like I said, we're gonna play it at 1.25, and then it's just gonna be the audio version only. Let me see here. I don't know if they take into account of what party they originally. I'm sure they do. I mean, I'm sure that it's probably a question just like what sex are you? I don't know. But I don't know. They released the questionnaire, didn't they? The jury questionnaire. Did they release that?
I don't think I haven't seen it.
They didn't? I thought
they might have, but I definitely haven't seen it.
Because I remember they were arguing about it. It was, oh my gosh, when was that? That was 2023, I think, wasn't it? 2000.
No.
When were they arguing that? Because the prosecution wanted it to be shut down.
Yeah, I
remember? Because it was gonna. They were claiming it was going to be putting out information that the jurors shouldn't be exposed to, and then they played they were like, it's just questions off of the PCA affidavit from Brett Payne, and they were not wanting it to be used because it could taint the public. And then that's when the defense played Bill Thompson standing up at the press conference the day that they arrested BK and said, I encourage you to go share this with your socials. read it, share it. You know, like they were like, well, you're on video. You're on video saying it, bro. What are you talking about? Don't let it get to the jury now. Go share it to your socials. Go share it to your socials.
Do you remember that was like the last time that Bill Thompson was super active? Like since then, they kind of keep him in the back. Just like, yeah.
Yeah, it was that same time.
Yeah.
That had, when was that? Mid 2023 summer of 23.
Because I was on the show with you.
Or wait, was it 24? Wait, no, it had to be 23.
Really?
Yeah, it had to be, because they started having the early, but no, maybe it was 2024, the beginning.
I can find it.
Maybe it was.
Let me see.
It was a while ago, I remember, but didn't that, so the jury questionnaire, I thought maybe the jury questionnaire came out. I wonder if it did. I mean, I don't know. That would be, what's up, Leslie Billy? That'd be, I guess you'd have to look up Idaho law, maybe. Maybe Idaho law or something. I don't know. I mean, I could see it being a question, like, I could see it being a question. Not that it should be relevant. I don't think a particular party should be relevant, but I bet you that is a question, because when you're thinking about different political parties have different views on some of the, I mean, let's be honest, this is a DP case. Okay. So I'm sure that, you know, I'm sure it'll be part of the pooling process, you know, where they break down the analytics and you know, a certain race between this age, and you know, they have all these analytics of, you know, what they do to pick a jury. They you know, middle-aged or this particular age group or whatever. I'm sure there's going to be some kind of political, because most, you know, each party has its own views on death penalties alone. So I'm sure that might even come into question and influence either way, if they, you know, because maybe the defense might want people that are opposed to the death penalty more, and the prosecution would want people that are, you know, that want to promote the death penalty even more. And so I'm sure it could come into question. Not that it should matter, but I could see it come into question when it comes to picking a jury.
Yeah, but I will find out the date of that hearing and then see if anything came out around there. But I don't remember ever seeing it.
Maybe I was just hoping. Maybe I don't know, because to me it was like, well, because it is like, hey, you know, it's all, you know, information from the PCA from affidavit for Brett Payne. So, you know, I it's already out to the public. So then that's why I'm thinking it was already out to the public. The PCA is already out to the public. So why wouldn't they put the questionnaire? For some reason, I thought they did, though. I don't know. Let me know in chat. Yeah, let me know in chat if you guys know too. And I want to say thank you, Leslie and Billy, for the $5 super chat. And now that we are back over here on StreamYard, I'm going to go ahead and do this little thing for you. Thank you so much. And shout out to you. Thank you so much for the contribution. All right. So, and be safe going to work, Leslie and Billy. And thank you for being here. All right. So this is the audio. Again, it's 1.25 speed. And it's not the whole video in its entirety. I encourage anybody, even if you don't watch the whole video in its entirety, in the actual video, I still encourage you to go sub up, like the video, leave a heartfelt comment in the comment section. That'll boost their algorithm for this video. And then also you can play it at normal speed. We're going to be playing it at 1.25, and we're going to have the captions up. So we're going to go ahead and start going through this interview. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it very much. If you're just coming in, we discussed the Howard Blum and Dr. Catherine Ramsland situation. And I think that discussion right there needs to be promoted more than any other discussion right now, because what Dr. Catherine Ramsland is got to be going through today is got to be horrible. And then for her to think about what can happen to her reputation and career in the future, I can't even imagine when it comes to being on that kind of national platform and having those kind of associations, and how people can blame you ultimately through BK about the crime taking place in Idaho because of somebody else's reckless words when it comes to the journalistic approach of what we're trying to do here. So here is the audio only. This is not a shareable video. This is just something that's for the show today. And we're going to go ahead and break it down. Anytime you want me to pause it, let me know, Rosee. And if there's nothing you want to mention, we'll go ahead and get it started. And what's up, Tip? Thank you for hopping in as well. All right. Thank you all for being here. And let's get into it. Here we go. Right off the bat.
Aloha.
Hello.
Okay, so Karen, what do we've got going this evening? And what
All right, hold on. That don't sound one. Oh, it is 1.25. Okay.
we want to welcome Dr. Picato here as well. Stephen, Kristi, thank you so much for taking your time out this evening. Love the shirt. Love the puppy.
All right. Give me 1 second. I'm going to adjust these because it looks like they changed it. I need to go font size and there we go. They changed settings again. They can change your settings, but they can't update the notifications for people. Love that.
And now, who is the puppy? Tell us about the puppy.
This is Baby, and he is our mama girl's little runt out of a litter, and she's trying to get in here. And we had to keep him.
They're Russell Griffins.
We had to keep him because we just fell in love with him. We had to bottle feed him. He was not doing well. So we bottle fed him, and he just was called the baby. And so that's what he is, Baby.
And what's his breed? What breed is he?
They're Brussels Griffins, smooth coat Brussels Griffins.
Nice. Oh, and then people are going to ask, how's Murphy doing?
Murphy's doing good. We've been in touch with Jack recently, and Murphy's doing really good. Unfortunately, Jack hurt himself. So he's kind of down right now. And he's probably a little mad at me because I haven't been able to take him out as much. But our daughter plays softball, and Jack was at the school the other day, and he's on a scooter because his leg is in a cast. And Murphy was running alongside of Jack in the scooter. So I'm like, he can't be too mad. He's getting exercise. So yeah, Aubrey told us that she saw Jack with Murphy running alongside. So
awesome. I absolutely love that opening drawing of Kaylee and the Savior. Where did you guys get that?
So that was a gift that was sent to us quite a long time ago. And, we.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead, and they're talking about the photo with the picture of of Jesus having Kaylee in his arms, hugging her. And I'm going to go ahead and skip through. Like I said, there's the link for the channel. And then here is the entire episode. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit and get to a little bit later in the conversation. They talk about, basically like Kaylee had the little puppy dance. Kaylee had done it with all their puppies. They didn't realize it until the one with Murphy came out after the crime took place. And that's when Kristi's like, oh my gosh, she did that with these other puppies too. That's a thing that she did with all the puppies. And so that stuck out to them. we're going to skip that part and we're going to get to some more of the deeper parts of the interview here.
And everything right now is she's graduating high school and going away. So you know, it's hard. Literally, she goes to college.
So they're talking about their youngest daughter right now that's getting ready to graduate, and she's going to move out. Now, I'm going to let this play for a second because Kristi says something very interesting.
We start the trial August 11th, and we fly her down August 20th. So we'll be taking a few days off of court. So
yeah, and one of the, I say this carefully, but one of the schools she applied for, I won't even say the school, there was like a shooting there. So it's just like, oh, you send your kid away and then you hear about
yeah, recently we're like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, so there's a little stress of that going on, but
I know that feeling. Our oldest is a professor.
Hold on one second. She might have said it already.
She worked her tail off. She always wanted to beat Kaylee, and they were very competitive. So Kaylee would be saying, "Sister got me on this one."
And Aubrey is Kaylee's younger sister, right?
Yes, she's the youngest. So that's another emotion that's kind of thrown into everything right now. Is she's graduating high school and going away. So you know, it's hard. Literally, she goes to college.
Watch this.
We start the trial August 11th, and we fly her down August 20th. So we'll be taking a few days off of court. So
yeah, and one of the, I say this carefully, but one of the schools she applied for, I won't even say the school, there was like a shooting there. So it's just like, oh, you send your kid away and then you hear about
yeah, recently we're like, oh my goodness.
Oh,
so
she must not have said it yet.
But,
I know that feeling. Our oldest is a professor at UNLV, and
okay. Well, I'm trying to find it, but she basically says
favorite memories.
She says, "Oh my gosh, I wish I had the timestamp." She said, and the timestamp isn't going to be correct because I edited it.
Oh, okay.
She had said that she made the comment about how she didn't want to go to Idaho for college, how Idaho had killed her sister. And she goes, not that, she goes, we know who, you know, we know who killed Kaylee, but not that Idaho's the one that did it, but Idaho brings, and Idaho University of Idaho brings back those memories, and she doesn't want nothing to do with it. So I thought
I remember that being a bit later.
Was it? They were talking about Aubrey and when she was picking her schools.
Let me see.
It was when they were when they bring up Aubrey, that's when they start talking about how she didn't want to go to Idaho. Because Chris asked, you know, like, is University of Idaho in the equation when it came to Aubrey and where she was choosing to go to school? Let me see here. I could have swore it was right in the beginning. But she basically, Kristi says that Aubrey didn't want to go to University of Idaho because they killed her sister. And she's like, not that they did it. We know who did it, but you know,
right.
And
yeah,
I'm like, that stuck out to me because I'm like, yeah, I feel like they did too. I wouldn't want to go either. I wouldn't even want my kid to go to this.
Yeah. I'm gonna let you know. I'm just gonna scan the transcript and see if it's early or not.
Yeah, let me go ahead and play it maybe a little earlier here. And
program tonight. Okay. And we always want to just extend our sincere condolences and tell you how sorry we are for the loss of your sweet and beautiful daughter, Kaylee.
Thank you.
So it's been about a year since you guys been on our show. I can't believe it. It's gone fast.
We'll find it.
And it's been about, of course, 2.5 years since you lost her, since this all happened. We've got the trial coming up in just a couple of months. Let's just start. How is your family doing right now?
You know, just as always, it's a roller coaster, you know. I think to really be able to begin healing and for us to get to that point, you know, we got to get through this trial. So right now I try just to make my days, our days just as less stressful as we can, you know, and that means sometimes just having to turn off the noise, you know, having to just take a nap, you know, go to bed early, just to get us through, you know. It's a lot. It's a lot. You know, I feel like we are preparing for war.
On a positive note, Aubrey got a full ride scholarship to Baylor.
Awesome.
Congratulations. Wow.
So that's fun to have that. And she worked her tail off. She always wanted to beat Kaylee, and they were very competitive. So Kaylee would be saying, sister got me on this one.
And Aubrey is Kaylee's younger sister, right?
Yes, she's the youngest. So that's another, you know, emotion that's kind of thrown into everything right now. Is she's graduating high school and going away. So you know, it's hard. Literally, she goes to college. We start the trial August 11th, and we fly her down August 20th. So we'll be taking a few days off of court. So
yeah, and one of the, I see this careful.
Oh, and you know what? So it must have been when Chris was talking.
And one of the
very good. I mean, extremely good. But yeah.
Well, the world's proud of her. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, so tell us more about Kaylee and her sister Aubrey and what their relationship was like, and what are some of your favorite memories that really kind of captured Kaylee's spirit?
So one of my favorite memories is Aubrey and Kaylee on the 4th of July. We were hanging out outside and by the pool, and they both came out wearing bikinis, and they were like completely opposite. So it was weird because Aubrey was wearing like a striped top, blue and white top with white bottoms. Kaylee was wearing white bottoms with like the red and white, the stars, you know, and it was just like, did you guys plan this? And they didn't. So we had to do our mom had to give them like a total photo shoot because of this. But it was really fun, and they looked really cute. And so it was they just came out like completely opposite, like almost on purpose, you know. And Aubrey resembles Kaylee so much, you know, and their personalities actually are quite a bit alike. So, you know, they fought like sisters. And even though there was a pretty big age gap there, you know, Kaylee would call her a little brat, you know, all the time. And because she was, you know, she's the baby and she's so spoiled. Mom, you guys give her everything, you know, we have to work for everything. And Aubrey just gets it. And I'm like, well, she is only 9. You know, but they had, you know, they had a bond, you know, just like sisters do. And they loved each other very much.
And they're both a little bit more outdoors. Like Bria asked to go fishing. She's like, let's go fishing. And Kaylee would go to concerts and camp overnight. So they enjoy the outdoors. And that's a little bit more something unique about them, where I don't know if Autumn would really do that.
I don't know if Autumn would go camping or fishing.
And Olivia's not big on the outdoors either. So, you know, they got their own unique, you know, styles.
So did you guys put that into them, you know, as kids? I mean, were you a big outdoor family or?
Yeah, we do a lot of camping. We've always had water sports, and you know, sometimes we just go to islands and camp on the whole island where no one else could get to. So yeah, we did that, you know, through their years and growing up.
Islands here on the lake, Coeur d'Alene, there's, you know, a few little spots that boat access only. So, you know, we'd go and we would, you know, set up, you know, our tents and stuff, and for a week, you know, and we'd kind of just go back and forth, and it was nice. I mean, you know, you worry about your stuff, but our stuff was always safe. We'd come back and we'd be like, is everything still there? And we'd be like, yeah, everything's still there, you know, and we'd go home and take showers and come back, and you'd go to work. And so we'd, you know, hang out there, you know, a lot of the summer. And we did that for years. And that was, you know, kids loved doing that. And there was a little place down south on the lake that we'd go and take the kids and their friends and, you know, camp, and, you know, whoever wanted to fish would fish. And there was a little restaurant there. So they, you know, we had like a little open tab that, you know, they were allowed to get French fries. It wasn't totally open. So yeah, at the end of the trip, you know, we'd go down and cash out, and we'd have like, you know, 100 quarters of French fries to pay for. We'd be like, hey.
Yeah, that's a pretty Go ahead.
Yeah, Maddie was with us when we go down there, and and float around, and there would be a log out there. The kids would get out there on the log and mess around on the log, and they had so much fun. It's a great spot.
That's a big blue dot up there. A lot of retired PD guys up there, am I right?
Yeah, it's very peaceful and quiet, and you know,
it's growing though.
Yeah,
it's growing a
lot.
Like
everything.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
We really blew up where people could work a little bit more remote. So.
Oh yeah, like it's beautiful up there, Coeur d'Alene. Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. The lake, the mountains, it's something. I'm gonna go ahead and skip ahead a little bit. Let me see here, and again, I'll drop the link to the whole thing in chat. and you can listen to it in its entirety. And I would encourage people to watch the whole thing too, not just listen to the audio. That way you can see their facial expressions and all of that.
It's very therapeutic, this one. It's the most therapeutic interview I've seen them do.
Yeah, and it was great seeing Kristi. She was just glowing. She was just glowing. And until a certain point of the interview when some certain keywords were said or mentioned, and then you could kind of just see all of that glow just go away because of a certain word that somebody used that was just like, dude, why would you even use that word to compare to one of the victims of the crime? Even though, I mean, there's other words that you can use, you know.
Yeah.
There's other words than your child getting destroyed. You know what I mean? When you hear somebody say that your child was destroyed from this person, I can't imagine. I mean, oh, and you saw it. You saw somebody say that word, and you could literally see all the glow in her face change instantly back to the gloom. And I'm just like, God damn, dude. You just deflated her joy in this moment. I'm just, that's me though. That's me. I noticed the little shit. Most people didn't. Oh my God, he's so amazing. And I'm just sitting there going, dude, you just did something dumb. Like dumb as fuck, dude. Why would you ever say somebody to a family member that, yeah, when he destroyed your daughter's life? Shut the fuck up, dude. Oh, he's so amazing. Yeah. Enjoy the cotton balls at the bottom of the cliff. Okay.
Idaho. And I was like, all right, I was thinking just suffice him, there's no way I'm leaving California. I'm not moving up to North Idaho,
Okay, so they're talking about they started off in California, made it up to Idaho, the beginnings of their relationship. Like I said, it's a beautiful interview. Beautiful story. We're just going to be covering certain parts of it. Let me see if this is where we're at.
Karen and Maddie, their family, they lived in town, so they did stay there a lot more.
And then they're talking about Maddie. Since the 6th grade, her and Maddie became inseparable.
Game and just we like to go do stuff. We do these little mini vacations and stuff, and you always invite a friend with you. So
Still talking about their relationship here.
And as I listen to tell these stories, it just becomes clear how happy.
Far, it's like 2 hours, so they could come home on the weekends or something happened, we could get down there, and it was perfect scenario.
Yeah.
She was headed to Texas.
It was
horns, as they say, right back in the day. And then obviously the universe changed the schedule. Gary, what are your thoughts so far about the kids? Can I call them kids? Because
that's totally fine.
Okay.
Always be kids, right? To your parents. Well, what I'm thinking about is that you can hear in so many of the things that you're saying that the girls were so socialized. They everything you talk about, fair play, having fun, going out, having people who love you, family, and you really start to understand that in addition to the horrible thing that happened being related to them being women and everything else, is that there's also, you can envision a kind of envy of people who are loved and belong and are socialized and understand fair play and everything. And you really start to understand that how somebody could live in a darkness of not having that and wanting to destroy it so that somebody else can't have it if I can't, that kind of thing. And as I listen to tell these stories, it just becomes clear.
That's when you put like a sour candy in your mouth, and you're like,
yeah,
you're doing that shit like, you're puckering because, oh my Lord, dude, he's so amazing. It's like, dude, you just saw it, and I'm sitting there going, oh my God, poor Kristi.
Yeah.
Poor Kristi, because now she's imagining that person destroying, and you literally, you guys, I don't know what the time stamp is. It's somewhere close, because I would say after 21 minutes, because I know there's probably 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, I don't know how many minutes before I even clip because it's edited. But it's definitely after 21:35. And you can literally see, like, oh my God, that's what I was telling everybody in the team chat. Like, look at how much she's glowing. Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. You can see, she's got that glow, and she's coming back, and because you always felt so bad, and then you see, destroyed or this, and then you see her face just go. It's like a sunset, and the sun just set. It just set, and then it never rose again. You could actually see her trying to hold back the tears just moments after this was spoke. She went from glow to gloom to then you could look in her eyes, and you could see her eyes were getting moisture, and she was fighting back to try and not even tear up. It's just so, oh my gosh. But we'll continue. I encourage you, go check it out. Here's the link to the whole video. Leave a heartfelt comment in the comment section over there. Drop a like and hit the sub if you're not subbed already, and you can hear it in its entirety. We're also playing it at 1.25 speed. So whenever you listen to the original, it's going to be the correct speed. This is one just to speed it up a little bit when it comes to the fair use.
How happy they were, and because they were loved, and okay, they had an argument. I'm sure they got over it real quick, and they did what normal people do, when they. But it's just so heartbreaking to listen, and I keep thinking about a very famous line of poetry that I learned when I was in school.
Yeah, says, definitely sour candy.
Of all sad words of tongue or pen, the saddest are these. It might have been. And that's by Whittier. And I keep thinking to myself about all the incredible potential and all of that. And one of the things I was wondering about is, what did your daughter talk about doing in the future? What did she want to do with her life? What did she see as her purpose?
One thing Kaylee wanted to do was she wanted to be successful. She very much so wanted to be successful. She, marriage was not like, being a mom and getting married. That wasn't her first priority. I mean, she wanted that, yes, eventually, but she wanted her career. She wanted a career, and she wanted to be able to, succeed in that. And I think that company that she was with, it just happened to land her an internship, and it just fell into her lap. And that whole, change of path that she took with her career in like the last year was just a total blessing, for her. And she really ran with it. And she, got a great offer. She graduated early in December, or would have been graduating in December. I think that's what she wanted, and she was excited for that. And then she did want to be married, and she did want kids. But she was very particular. Kaylee was very particular, and she wanted nothing thrown at her that she had to unexpectedly. She had a plan. And things happen unexpectedly. That just happens. But so she wasn't very good at navigating things that would come at you.
The impression that I have listening to is that because she was so loved, her life was a success. Mm-hmm. She achieved the greatest thing that any of us could ever achieve, and whoever did this didn't. And that's the thing. I think if we remember that in life, the one who loves the most wins. Right, that ultimately, if that's the measure of a life, then her life was a complete and total success. And that's what as I'm listening, I keep thinking to myself, wow, how lucky so many people would be to have a life like that.
One of the last meetings, she was getting a hold of us and said, "Hey, Dad, I got this new job offer." She wanted to share the offer with us to make sure that help her negotiate and go through that. Then she gets it, and then she's like, "We need to go have dinner so we can plan out my 401k." And I was like so proud of her. And she's like, "I just need to know some of the investments. What are the things we're going to do?" She's like, I got to nail this thing and get this going, because I just know that you guys have had a good job, done good stuff with stocks. Let's get this done. And I was just like, man, this girl is no slowing her down. And she's very competitive. And that's, what could have been is the part that gets you, how motivated she was.
But she did live a complete life in her 21 years. I mean, besides, getting married and having children, wedding, all that. She did live a very full life. She traveled, she had a best friend that, just a lot of people aren't even blessed with that, just to have, they've had best best friends, you know, here and there and so, you know, throughout the years, but to have one for so long, she was, you know, in Olivia's wedding, one of the bridesmaids, and Olivia said, my sisters are my bridesmaids. That's who are bridesmaids.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so even to have, you know, her siblings, love Maddie so much. So she did. And I think about that a lot. And I try to find peace in that she, that she's not missing out. We're missing out on her. But Kaylee's doing better than all of us right now.
Yeah.
I think she's very proud of you.
Yeah.
You know, I have to tell you that whenever we do these shows and we speak to family members of people who have been affected by violent crime, I get a lot of messages, and I know Chris and Karen do too, from people who say, you might as well have been talking about me. I was affected by something too.
Isn't he the same guy? Isn't he the same guy that in the very beginning, before Koberger was arrested, came out with some kind of profile about the suspect, and then when right after Koberger was arrested, he said that he predicted Koberger being the person that was the person that committed the crime. He predicted Koberger before anybody else or something like that. But then the stuff that he was saying from that show has, like, the shit's not even who Koberger is. So I
don't know. I'm not very familiar with him. This is kind of my first time seeing him, but
he's on the lab a lot, which, you know,
yeah, I need to watch that more.
You know,
but
whatever. It's more drama.
I think they mentioned
drama
something about having done that in this interview, not to that much detail, but they do kind of say that they knew or predicted stuff.
Yeah,
I think they say so.
Yeah, like surviving. Maybe it was a Surviving the Survivor podcast or something. There was something where I think they were. He was
like we knew it, but no.
Yeah, like I knew, like I predicted it was not BK specifically by name, but
yeah,
you know, his profile or whatever.
Yeah.
Does anybody know, like, what's up, Amanda? Does anybody know, like, I guess I'd have to look him up on Wikipedia or something to see where he's even coming from upstairs. Doctor of what? Do you know? Doctor of what?
No.
Oh. Bill Cosby was a doctor too, you know.
He was?
Yeah, Dr. Huxtable. They called him doctor after that in real life. You could be a doctor for anything. I'm just saying.
I know.
We went way back, didn't we, Caddy?
Dr. Nobody asks what you're a doctor in.
Dr. Huxtable. We went way back this morning. Back into the 80s. Ba-ba-doo ba ba-da.
I will find out more about him and tell you now.
What's up, Yvette? All right.
Just now. South Africans say now, and I just realized that probably sounds dumb to you.
Yeah, Dr. Huxtable. I mean, hell, there's so many, like, really, there's so many doctors out there that don't even have a degree in anything. Not that a degree makes a difference, because how many people have a degree that were promoting Howard Bloom's BS and thinking it was real. That degree it's a piece of paper at that point. It's a piece of paper. That's it. It's called life experience that teaches you in analytics.
Okay, there is no Wikipedia, but there's some other.
The dude don't have a Wikipedia. What? Taco Bell has a Wikipedia.
But not him. Okay, it says
urinals have a Wikipedia. What? All right, go ahead, Rosee. Sorry. I'm just saying.
What was I saying?
I don't know. Oh, has he, Beckles? I don't know. Anyway, I'll go ahead.
He's a clinical psychologist and an author.
Okay.
Yeah. And he's written. Oh, wait. Okay. Yeah.
What's up, Busby? What's up, Busby? I mean, I'm just saying they have one. I mean, I took psychology in school.
Did you?
And yeah, I did, because I mix that with the analytics, Rosee. That's what makes me come to the different conclusions that I come to, or the different scenarios, or what makes sense or what doesn't make sense. Is I base part of it. It's a combination of analytics, psychology, all sorts of stuff put in together, and that's what makes me. That's where my senses come from. That's where when I'm out on location and I can sense danger behind me, even though I can't see it. That's where that stuff comes from. It's all mixed together with an analytical broth. You know what I'm saying? It's all mixed together. You got that analytical broth, and that's what forms my senses and my thoughts and predictions and theories and all of these different things. So yeah, of course, psychology is part of it. All right, I was just curious. Thank you for looking that up. I appreciate
You're welcome.
it. I should be Dr. CJ from now on.
Yeah, make it Dr. CJ.
Yeah, I could have my own call-in line. Ask Dr. CJ. Damn, I need to do that. I need to do that.
Now.
Dude. Let me write that down.
Write it down.
I got to do that. I got to do that at the lounge some night. Ask Dr. CJ. All right, here we go.
And it brought tears to my eyes.
Come on now, right?
And it made me,
Yeah.
in other words, in doing this, in talking about this, and keeping her memory alive, and speaking to an audience like this, she's touching thousands of lives. The reality is that what she's doing is through you is lending a dignity and a face to people that, you know, we all know the name of the offender and we couldn't name the victim. Well, this is a way of saying, no way. No, this is about her. Who cares about this nobody? And I think that's how she'll do her work. The reality is that now her scope has changed. Now she can affect the whole world. And I think in a lot of ways she will. I mean, Karen, you know what I mean, right?
Yeah. Well,
we've seen it.
Kristi and Steve, I wanted to ask, you guys have spoken about the community support through all of this. And I'm just wondering what some of those gestures or moments that others have, you know, put their arms around you and your family, what some of the things are that you, that have meant the most to you as far as that?
So just like within our community, because we have felt, you know, the love across the world. I mean, we get letters from other murder victims, parents, or from Australia, from, you know, just other states and whatnot. But locally here, we have people that I'll just open the front door and there's a big pot of flowers, you know, like, oh my gosh, you know, here's flowers. That was obviously dropped off locally. You know, it wasn't a delivery. It was, you know, somebody planted it and put a planter on our front porch. We'll open up the door and there'll be cookies with a, you know, a nice card. Obviously, if we go out, we will have people approach us. Just a couple days ago, a man approached us and came up and shook Steve's hand and just said, you know, keep doing what you're doing, you know, and you know, didn't interrupt. I've had people walk up to me in Target, you know, and say, I recognized you, you know, can I give you a hug? And, you know, I'm like, absolutely, you know, and, you know, just hugs and just support, you know, it just, I know that it's affected so many people. And, you know, people try to share that burden. And I wish that we could, you know, and I think that it is shared in a way because people do hurt over that. And if you're hurt over it, you're carrying a burden, you know, and I know before this happened to us, I know there were cases that I read about or heard about that affected me, you know, hurt me, would make me, you know, cry, and just the horrific details and what happened. So I understand how those people feel as well, because I remember being on the other side. But stepping into these shoes, no one wants to do this. No one wants to step into these shoes, you know, and and the love and the prayers and the little things mean so much to us. It just, Kaylee, all the kids were very important. They're very special. And people can see that. They were just innocent kids,
And to kind of counter the negativity of this, the only way you can really counter that is to embrace your community and find a way to spread more love out and to get people to understand how important these people were, give them a voice, and then let that repercussion start growing and let that movement start growing. And then you can sit back and say, okay, this happened, but can we make the most of it? Can we get to where these people remember these victims more than they remember the person who did it? And then, take it to the next step and let the community heal. And the minute we get off the airplane and fly to like Boise, we see people that, reach out to us and let us know that it matters, that a crime like this matters, and they're here and they're watching, and they care and they want to figure out how this is going to end. And the engagement of being your child's voice comes with that honor of being able to meet all these people and to know that they care about your daughter.
Well, you're very strong for, feeling that way and being able to actually, carry yourself that way. I mean,
to live with that authenticity. And you can feel her spirit through both of you. And I have to, just say that I love.
Well, I mean, the child is an extension of the parent, and that's where they get their genes from. It's a combination of mom and dad. When people are growing up in their household, that's what they determine normal. They learn traits from their mom. They learn traits from their dad. They have personalities of each. I mean, they are going to be extensions, of their parents. So yeah, they're going to be, you do see it. You do see it in them. Let me see here. Let me skip
And
ahead.
I guess with some kids it's stronger, like they're just the splitting image of their parents, and then others. Yeah.
Let's see here. All right, so we'll go ahead and skip ahead just a little bit here.
Obviously, as we start getting towards, the justice part of this, right? I just want to kind of shift into this idea about what have been some of the challenges waiting for justice now that we have obviously a new judge. Things have changed. How has that? But before I even go there, I want to talk about Bree just for a second. Is that okay? And the reason I want to talk about her because people forget that she too is a victim with your family. So how is she emotionally moving ahead? I know she's going to college and I know she's going to do all these other amazing things, but how can we help as the world? I mean, this platform is a very powerful platform. How can we help support her and your family as well, right?
I mean, just, well wishes for her. And, she's been very strong through all this. She was in 10th grade when Kaylee passed away. And this kid has not failed to, she has strived, she's just strived to do her best. She always did. And, we thought at that point, like she might derail a little bit here, and we're just going to have to, we were derailed, so trying to keep her on track, but she never missed a beat, she has maintained a 4.2 her whole entire high school career, 4.2 GPA. She participates in all the sports. She loves softball. She's playing softball now. It's her senior year, so they're in like the playoffs now. But just
we're gonna get to know.
Pray for her, and it's hard for us to send another kid to college. For me, it's hard to send another kid to college, because college, I don't know. It's not I know Kaylee had a lot of fun in college, but it did not end great, and so it's scary for me. It's scary that
scary.
People might, target her or,
that's one reason why we picked Texas, and that's Waco is a very safe community with a lot of good people there. They even have a connection, that school has a connection with our case. There's people there that went to school there and started a lab that was part of this investigation. So it kind of comes like a full circle like that. So yeah, I just hope that, that we can blend into that community and get to know those people. And, she gets a chance to kind of start her own little story there and figure out who she's going to be.
She wants, she does not want to be in Idaho. She does not. So we've known that for some time. She's never been Boise. She actually switched high schools. She went to the same school district throughout from kindergarten on up, and her senior year, she's just like, I can't do it anymore, Mom. Like, she did not want the attention from, she was a very popular girl and whatnot. In her senior year, she switched schools. She went to a whole nother district. We did an inter-district transfer for her. She just was like, I want to go someplace that people don't know who I am. You don't have people feeling sorry for you. She's like, I don't want that. And we knew she wasn't going to go to U of I, but I really, really pushed Boise State. I'm like, Boise State. And she's like, Mom, I just want nothing to do with Idaho. I think Idaho, how college left a bad taste in my mouth, Idaho has left a bad taste in her mouth. I just want out. Like, Idaho took my sister's life, not Idaho.
And yeah, you're right. It was later on, and that's where, Idaho took my sister's life. That's an interesting question, Amanda.
Very.
I think you already know the answer to that question. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Brian never did stalk the victims who done it. That's why it's, if you're joining late, definitely check out the little segment for about an hour and a half, hour and something that we did on the Blum Ramsland BS. But it's been the beautiful thing too, because remember, like I always say back at the beginning, he was the only one. The police were doing press release after press release, open it up to questions. We don't know who or where or how many, but we know that you're safe. And they are getting tired of it. He does. I'm starting to wonder where he gets his information from, and I think some of it is from Blum, honestly. You just look at the connections. I'm gonna have Yoli on here sometime because she did a show with Howard Blum. And I wanted to talk with her about that and
that'll be great. Yeah,
and play that. But yeah, when it comes to Mr. Blum, like I said, I smelled the shit a long time ago. Not interested. And it's just unfortunate what he's done to Catherine. But yeah, right here where she said, she corrected it after she said this, but she said, Idaho took my sister's life. And I don't know. I'm wondering if Aubrey really thinks BK's the one.
Well, I'm also wondering about that because in one of the other interviews, and I can't remember which one, it was one where Steve was alone, and it was one of the two recent ones. He said that he has to convince members of his family that this is right, and he didn't say who. But I'll find it and I'll put the name and timestamp in mod chat. But he did say that he has some convincing to do. I'm paraphrasing, but that's what he said.
I wouldn't be surprised, I mean, it's not funny, but at the same time, it's like, man, you should know. You should know. Yeah, so that's the part. I just thought it was really interesting.
It is interesting. I agree with you.
That was said. Yeah. All right, so we'll get to some more.
Idaho, but we know who took.
Thank you all for being here.
In a way, it feels that way, and stole her innocence from her, from Aubrey. I mean, 10th grade, beginning 10th grade, and
two of her best friends. That's what the siblings all say is, I lost two
Yeah.
I lost two of my most dominant friends for the rest of my life that I would have always had. These were like my rocks that I expected to have throughout my life, and they're just gone.
And I mean, Aubrey's phone that day, you know, Autumn's phone that day, people were messaging them and told them your sister OD'd, you know, Maddie and Kaylee OD'd on drugs. And, you know, they were like, oh my gosh, you know, we were like, what? You know, when before we knew what happened, we were like, oh my God, like, what is going on? This is not possible. You know, like this can't possibly, there's no way they OD'd on drugs, you know, and oh, and then they were, you know, then next thing, you know, somebody just messaged me and told me that Kaylee was shot, you know, she was shot. And we were just, it was just, yeah, just people reaching out to Aubrey, you know, just finding her on a social media platform, seeing that she was, you know, and maybe they were trying to be helpful. I don't know, but you know, it was just like, oh my goodness, like what is going on? Like, who are these people? Why are they texting my, you know, 15-year-old daughter? You know, and,
everything you're saying is resonating 1,000%, and that's one of the reasons I wanted him here tonight, because when in full transparency, when our youngest Dylan turned 20, I was scared to death because our Ryan passed away at 20. I didn't know how to handle it. I mean, Karen will tell you, I was a basket case for a whole year. And so everything you're feeling collectively as a family is normal. Now, I'm not that guy over here. I'll let him, you know, take over this conversation because I don't want to say something, open my mouth and insert my foot, you know, but Gary, I mean, walk them through everything that they're going through right here in terms of their emotional.
What's up, Jennifer? Thank you for helping me.
Aubrey.
Oh, absolutely. You know, there is someone that Chris and I know who some months ago went through exactly the same thing, who, when one of his children hit the age at which he had lost a family member, he went through an emotional crisis and couldn't put his finger on why. And I said to him, because in your mind, that's the age at which life ends, instead of just being, you know, the beginning of life, because your brain, you know, just can't get around this unnatural experience. I have to tell you that what you guys went through is not natural. It's not the natural course of events of the way things are supposed to go. And it's too much for the best of us. I have to tell you that the way that you guys have channeled it into what you do, and you go out there and you try to help people and so forth, is pretty amazing. I have to, I mean, Chris and Karen, I feel the same way often. It's an extraordinary thing. I mean, it tells you everything you need to know about where your daughter's values came from, right? I mean, she didn't come out of a vacuum, right? I mean, you know, and I just think it says so much about your character. And the only way that I've ever seen anybody deal with this is to make meaning out of it and to cling to faith and to cling to the community instead of saying, this person has made me cynical and I'm going to go out and hate the world now. When you do that, you basically become no better. And so when ugliness comes into your life like that, you have to say, just because there's ugliness like this in the world, it doesn't mean that there isn't a God who can love us. Just because this ugliness can happen in the world, it doesn't mean that the whole world is terrible. It doesn't mean that I should give up on everything and close myself up. And it becomes a strange wake-up call for the rest of us about what life is about. And what's coursing through us, this life that's coursing through us and the way we're supposed to spend it. And I think
right. I think that can be, and what's up, Jennifer? I am me as well. Thank you. I think that can be applied to anybody that self-reflects in life. You know, did I make the right decisions? Yeah. Should I have decided this? You know, somebody who is self-aware will always ask those questions every single day. You know, it's one of the reasons why I do what I do, because I asked myself that question a long time ago. Do I want to give up my comfort? Do I want to give up my every day I can do whatever I want? Do I want to give up all of that stuff to try and help other people? And it's yes, because I want to have some kind of meaning when it comes to my existence on this planet. I could be sitting down eating Cheetos, playing video games all day, but instead I consume my time with working on different cases, trying to help different people, you know, all of these different things that really there is no self-benefit when it comes to all that, because really I'm living my life. I'm not even living my own life. I'm living my life for others. I'm not even living it for me. I'm living it for other people. And that's one of those things you self-reflect. If you can self-reflect, you ask those questions all the time. And so maybe that's, when it's the psychology part. But that's what everybody should do. Everybody should be self-reflecting. We're not here very long, and we're given this gift for a reason. So we might as well make good use out of it instead of, just spending our time here creating problems and issues. That's not what we're here for. We're here to love, have companionship, experience life, not just live through it. You're supposed to experience it every day. So this is general stuff here. I'm going to scoot ahead just a skosh. Rambo. All right, here we go.
You, Gary.
We love you too,
Karen.
Kristi and Steve, you guys, your strength is very inspirational. I think Chris and I and Gary feel it. I know it's very inspirational for people here who watch the program.
Again, here's the link to the full episode. We're just playing clips. This is at 1.25 speed. So definitely hit that link. Go sub up if you're not subbed. Hit the like on the video. Leave a heartfelt comment in the comment section. Thank them for their time. And then the episode in its entirety with the video and at normal speed is over there. We're not going to be we're just playing certain parts of it, just the audio. But I encourage everybody to go watch the whole thing and watch the facial movements, the reactions, and all of that. And also, if you're just joining, definitely check out, after we're done here, the segment we did in the beginning where we discussed the Blum and Ramsland stuff. And I think it's very important. It needs to be out there. Like, this stuff has to be talked about because it's ridiculous. This dude is victim bashing and gaslighting, and it's just absolutely ridiculous. And this is a sweet lady that did nothing to him, that has a career that she worked her ass off for, and he's just totally gaslighting, victim bashing, and I think it's ridiculous. So definitely go click on that link and go show some love over there too. And thank you all for being here.
Program and chat. So many people have been through something very traumatic in their life, whatever it is, it's all different. But to see your family and your strength and to hear what you're doing and just this love that you guys have and this perseverance, it is extremely inspirational to us. So thank you for that. And of course, it's all to honor Kaylee and her memory as far as I'm concerned. So
Yeah, 100%. And, the good Lord opened a window when he closed the door by sending Judge Hippler. What's your read there?
Yes, absolutely. The change of venue hit us so hard, just because, not just the distance, but we knew from the beginning when the trial came, no matter how far away it was, we were going to be there. So, Latah County was 2 hours away, but you could drive there back and forth every day, and we're like, if we have to do that, we have to do that, So when they moved it to Boise, that was not attainable anymore, so we knew that financially, you're going to have to take off work. A lot of us who wanted to be there, and whoever wants to go, her siblings and whatnot, are entitled to go to that, and we want them there. But for the financial burden, it was hard thinking, well, she can't go because she can't afford it. Who can afford just to take 3 months off work, but the silver lining was Judge Hippler.
Yeah.
So as hard as it's made it for us, we're going to do it. We have our family to give us the strength. We have God to give us the strength. And, we thank him for that strength every day. But Judge Hippler is a blessing.
Yep. 100%.
I don't think we would be here looking at trial in 96 days if it wasn't for him and his, the decisions that he's been making. And, it feels like we're finally progressing, like when we were in Latah County, it just feels like we were just constantly getting gut punched, and Shannon would tell us, our attorney, he would say, I don't even know how to counsel you anymore because he does, but everything I say is backwards. He would predict how he thinks, that it's going to happen and how the judge is going to rule and everything else. And it would always be, and he's just like, it's like upside down. It's like an upside down world there. Like, I don't understand, So, it was.
See, and at least their attorneys got his head on his fucking shoulders, and he's like, dude, this is not normal. This shouldn't be happening. This is not what typically takes place. This, at least he's got they have some representation that's gonna at least not tell him what they want to hear and tell him what is really going on.
Yeah, and honestly, I think that moving to Judge Hitler and seeing him actually make some progress timing-wise at least showed them how badly things were going before. And I think in hindsight, you can look at that and be like, well, that was not normal.
Yeah. So, oh my gosh, another boom show tonight. Oh my God. Like, that's the thing, like that, because Judge John Judge, he could never make a decision. Everything was always delayed weeks and weeks and weeks. It was just such a slow moving process, and he just could never make a decision. And yes, that's one thing. You had to get out of Latah County because you needed to be able to have a fair trial. You're not going to get a fair trial, and there's no way that Latah County would have been able to handle that kind of trial because, I mean, hell, I was there for Parents Weekend. There was the Parents Weekend that was going on during the year anniversary when I was there the first year, and I couldn't even get lodging locally. And it was just Parents Weekend. Can you imagine
when the whole world is there? Yeah.
Right. The trial. And I can't, there's just no way. So it was nice that they did because it and the speed of it too. The dude's already been sitting in there how long? Let's get to the trial. Now, a lot of that was because a lot of the delays, I mean, hell, they're still doing supplemental discovery. There was so many of them. Delay. We keep asking, Judge, we can't help it. We can't give you something we don't have. Delay. So there's a lot of, Judge John Judge was setting deadlines and they were just blowing past them. They didn't even care about deadlines. How many times did he set a deadline for the prosecution to hand over all of the discovery? I mean, you're talking like at the end of 2023, the deadline. The October of 2023, I think it was. Maybe November. It was somewhere around there. There was that deadline that they were supposed to turn everything in, and then nothing.
They weren't very concerned with deadlines. They were like, "Oh, a deadline. It's just a suggestion."
Well, when you know that it's like back in the day when you had that parent was like, "Don't make me come in the back seat." You knew, and some of them might pull the damn car over, peel out, pull it over, get you out and whoop your ass. But some of them, the kids in the back were just like, they always say this. They always say this. They always don't make me. They always say this. That's what Judge John Judge was. He was that parent that was like, don't make me, but he never would. And they knew it.
They knew it.
My mom pulled the car over. Oh, shit. Right? Oh, trust me. Yeah. You hear the gravel skid. They're talking to you and they're talking to you and they're so mad that their teeth don't separate when they're talking. They're like, get the you're just like, ah. That's how mad they are. Their teeth ain't opening up when they're talking. They're looking like this guy. Hold on one second. I gotta pull this up real quick. and then we'll get back to this. But they're looking like this guy right here. Let me pull this up. They're looking like this guy, right? But his teeth are together. They're like, like, I don't know what you just said, but okay.
Yes.
I've been through that a few times when I was a kid. Not from mama, from the piece of shit asshole that was supposed to be a father figure to me. That was a stepdad. Yeah, that dude enjoyed beating the shit out of me. But anyway, let's get on to this. That's another day.
It was very difficult being there.
Well, it was frustrating to watch you guys have to go through what you were doing. I mean, not only you, but obviously the other family members as well. I mean, if it's you guys were kind of, and you still are, on behalf of your daughter, you're kind of the, a forward-facing, well,
they took the lead. They were taking the lead as far as the victims' families go.
The fact that every curveball was mitigated by the gag order, and it still is, and we know that you Steve, have been very diplomatic about wanting to say what you know, and you can't. You just can't. And I think that it got misinterpreted, and it left this void on social media, on main.
You're on mute. I don't know if you mean to be on mute.
Prep. Thank you. He did come out and say just recently that when they pick the trial, he's gonna let a whole bunch of stuff out. And I want to hear it. Trust me. I want to hear it. I want to hear it. I just hope that somehow, how mistakes happen. I just hope that somehow it's not leaked to the jury, and somehow it affects, the trial or whatever. But I am eager to hear. But at the same time, you're hearing all this stuff now. And again, it makes me wonder, is Blum one of his sources? Of course, he's going to be wooed from the local law enforcement because they want him to stay back and stay quiet. And they're going to tell him stuff that is going to woo him, But I really feel like Blum is maybe one of these sources with the stuff that's being put out there. Yeah, so it makes me, is he going to come out and say that that Ramsland has a connection and there is this fetish? Let me see. Caddy dropped the erotomania, excessive sexual desire. When another person, typically of higher social status, is in love with them. Just that kind of crap. But I don't know. Time will tell. Jury selection will be coming up here before we know it, and the trial too. Just a few months. That's it. It's going quick.
Yeah,
it's going very quick.
Mainstream media, just everything. It left this void of people just filling in the gaps without realizing, no, those aren't the facts. Those are not the facts. And that subjected you as a family and the other family members, from both sides, quite frankly, to this, continual gut punch over and over again. And I thought, now that Hitler's here, he brought some leadership.
Yeah, there shouldn't be a gut punch. It's like I'm telling you, they are regurgitating the things that they are being wooed by. And they have to trust to a fault. And thank God that they got Shannon Gray. He's actually, look, guys, this ain't normal.
Yeah, because I think there's a lot of denial that comes with the position that they're in, because it's like really vulnerable as well. And
yeah,
it's hard to think of the possibility that this is just not
right, that it can't be true. Yeah, because then they know that, at least right now in their mind, they know that there's a chance of justice.
Yeah.
But if they start allowing those other possibilities in their mind, even though they might be true, that's actually getting you closer to no justice. And so I you're exactly right,
it's
Rosie.
Hard,
there's like a deniability in it, but it's because you're blinded by, and no fault of their own. I would be too, to a certain extent, because though they're the only ones that you can trust that's going to do what is supposed to be done, because they're the only ones that are in the position to do that. More wild stuff. It's what HB. Whoa, is there another video? Hold on a minute. Here, let me play this some more. Let me see. Oh, the word. Yeah, the word erotomania. The dude, he's just, I don't know, man. There's something wrong upstairs.
I mean, he said that, right? That word. So isn't that kind of verging on a diagnosis? That's even more dangerous. Is it a diagnosable thing? I've never heard the word before, but
that's something for Gary Brucato to determine and diagnose.
Right. Yeah, not Howard Blum.
Never mind.
Certainly brought some sanity.
I'll keep my mouth shut
to the case, and now these motions, as they keep falling out, week by week, day by day, leading up to the trial, the public is finally wrapping their minds around, oh my gosh, they arrested this guy for murdering, these 4 kids. Now, of course, he's innocent till proven guilty, but that's our system. But at the same time, he's been arrested and he's incarcerated and going on trial for murdering your daughter. And, what I don't want to see and what I hate seeing is this narrative shift where you guys have to constantly defend. And I have to commend you that you've ignored a lot of the garbage out there, right? And keep doing that because, when it's all over and, whatever the result's going to be, how have you been navigating, those roads that are the social media roads, for lack of a better term?
I feel like somewhat early on, I heard that, basically the worst thing that you can do is just remain silent and say nothing and never tell the story of your child and never engage people, because people will only pay attention to what they're actually getting details from. If you're not willing to share your child's story, then you really can't sit back and say, well, why is nobody talking about it? Why is my story not getting any coverage? Or am I going to get justice? I felt like if it was a matter of will and effort, then it was pretty easy for me to just say, okay, I've got the will to make sure that people understand what happened here, and we got to do something. We got to, because we had almost 7 weeks of no suspect. So I was very engaged, and I wanted to make sure that we got our voices out there and let people know who these kids were. And there was so much social media stuff already out there that people kind of got a sense that they knew these people, and they seen all these photos and all these pictures and all these videos. And then when you give content to that and say, it is what you think it is. These are just really fun, loving girls having a good time. The people that you'd want, in your neighborhood, that you want your daughter to spend the night with and hang out with, that kind of grew. And it was worth taking. I've even had people say online that, I wish they just go away. And it was like, we can't. This is our kid. It's not your kid.
Right.
You think it's about you, but it's actually about our kids.
Right.
We're not going anywhere. There's nowhere for us to go. This is our life. We were forced to be here. If this was some true crime thing that I was just watching and I was I was talking to the camera all about it, that's justified. I could totally go away. It's not. I'm not in that race. But this is my daughter, so there is no going away from this.
Social media for me, I in the beginning I was like, I was just reading it all, And a good friend of mine said, do me a favor right now and get out of all those Facebook groups, block them all now. This is like before he was caught. And because I was just it was just a swirl. And I was into it all, just just 24/7, and she said, it's not good for you. Like it's not good for anybody, to be reading all that. And I got out of them and I stayed out of them. We opened the Goncalves, or we have the Goncalves page. And so we try to keep it, I try to keep it my focus there because it's genuinely love and support. But ever so often, I'll read some YouTube comments on a video or something, and it is just, it blows my mind how people can hate us. And our daughter was murdered, brutally murdered, and people hate us. I'm like, because they think he's talking too much, and people don't understand. And I just want to scream to the top of my lungs, like, get your facts straight before you want to speak about our family in these negative ways. There is a gag order. Yes. Our family is not gagged. We are not part of the investigation. People think, they're talking and they're going to, he's going to get off because they can't shut up and this and that. It's like,
not agents of the court.
We are not gagged. Our family is not gagged. We could say what we want to say. We could speak about what happened to our daughter. And it's not easy. It's not easy, to give details of what happened to her. Because it is private, but sometimes in this case, you're like, we got to tell people, like, we need to let people know, like, what this person did, as hard as it is to talk about and as hard as it is to share, it's the truth. This person is not right. This person that went in there and did this, it's bad.
You're still muted.
Thank you. The person, she's absolutely right. The person that did this is sick. What took place is bad. The types of injuries it's sick. It is. She's absolutely right. Yeah, it's and she's right. They are going to know details that the autopsy. You know what I'm saying? The autopsy is going to tell you a lot. And even without the pictures, the diagrams that the medical examiners use, and if you look up the terminology, because there's a lot of medical terminology, obviously, if you look it up when it comes to what they're discussing with different key parts, it can really tell you a lot. And when that's your own loved one and you're seeing these bad things that took place, it's got to be horrible. And it is true, like, the person that committed this crime, what they did to these people, it should be out there, because people need to know how sick this person was that committed this crime and what they did to these victims. They didn't just go in and kapooey and walk out. There was a lot of rage and emotion behind it, and they did certain things that it went beyond. It went beyond just the crime itself. It went beyond that, and took that tragic turn. Yeah, I know, Jennifer. I mean, trust me, I don't. I have my opinions on it, and especially when, hell, you know how many people, when I went out there and talked to the students at Washington State University, Idaho, and the locals, you know how many people mentioned that they thought it was more than one? Quite a bit. You'd be shocked.
I'm sure.
Not what the prosecution's telling you. I told you what the students and community was telling me, and I wasn't looking like Mr. Grandpa Blum out there either. They ain't gonna talk to his ass. All right, so more back to this, and it's true. It is, the person that committed this crime is absolutely sick.
It's bad. It's bad.
Oh, the whole town, yeah, I'm sure.
Evil, it's straight from hell. It literally is. It's your worst possible nightmare. If people hate us, it's like, it's just so hard, and so I really hate social media. I besides our page.
That's why I said, like, people shouldn't talk. Listen, they're to a default, they have to trust, and at the same time, they're just regurgitating the things that they are being told or promised. The important thing people need to pay attention to, as many people as they want to trash them, they should actually with this latest interview, that Shannon Gray is telling them the truth behind the scenes. You hear them question a lot of the stuff that's being unsealed now. And so I think they should be applauded because they're fighting a battle between we're supposed to believe these people that are in these positions, but this stuff doesn't make sense either. It's got to be a really hard position to be in, to pick, and to try and figure out who's being honest when you don't even know and you won't until trial. And that's what I'm saying. Like they're just regurgitating things that they're said, and really the people that should be held accountable are the people telling them these lies, because they're gaslighting these families too, as much as Blum's gaslighting Ramsland. These investigators have been gaslighting these families this whole time too, and they're realizing it with these new unsealed documents that continue to come out, especially with the 911 call.
I just hate it. It's so ugly. It's just so, and people are just so misinformed. And people read the documents that the court is dropping, and they read them and they interpret them in the craziest backwards ways, and we're like, oh my gosh. I mean, there's people with YouTube content, and they have the docs up, and they're reading these docs, and I'm just like, that's how you're interpreting that? Like, it.
Because we don't have emotion into it being a particular person. We have emotion into it being the right person, whatever the name is. And that's where you get the different interpretations of the documents. Just like I brought up earlier, text messaging is one of the worst ways of communication, because you're always putting your own emotion into somebody else's words, and it can mean completely different things based on that emotion.
It just is twisted minds,
Gary,
people are just twisted, or
little psychology for you, even though there's no degree.
Or they talk about they need to educate themselves, and they're just so wrong, and this and that, and this person is innocent, and it's just hard. It's just like, oh, they saying that Steve was part of it, that he's this crazy billionaire and part of the drug cartel. It's just crazy. It just is like, their basis is so completely off. I mean, not even an ounce of the truth, not even a fragment, a piece of truth in it. It's like you completely made that up, like completely made this narrative up and are running with it, and people are actually believing it. It's mind boggling. It blows your mind. It just blows your mind, and then to think like, this is our family. This is our life. This is, like, sometimes I tell Steve, maybe we should just shut up. Maybe we should just shut up and back, and he's like, absolutely not,
Nobody will take my daughter's voice from me. It's not going to happen. No judge, no court, no investigator, nobody. So that's just not going to happen. And I get where people come from. They always feel like if you tell the truth, you got nothing to hide. I mean, we grow up from like 3 years old here, and if you tell the truth, you got nothing to hide. That's why I don't like a gag one, because once they say, "Oh, they're hiding something," they don't want people talking about it. So it flips the premise, and then everyone's like, "Well, truth doesn't need to be hidden. So what's going on here?" And so.
Well, in my career, I've never seen a gag order so broad.
I'm going to challenge it. When it's all said and done, I will challenge this.
Yeah, I think you need to go to your legislators and get the Cayley Act and make it happen. And we will support you 1,000%.
Every time the defendant's in the court, how dare you say that the victim's family, the surviving victim, should be there too? So it's so one-sided now. It's like, oh,
it's not one-sided. That's just common decency, because who knows? Maybe he didn't commit the crime. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he didn't. That if you were getting, what's up, Love Tina? If you were getting convicted of a crime and you didn't do it, isn't it fair for you to have your family in the courtroom? I mean, why wouldn't it be? You know what I'm saying? The dude hasn't been convicted yet. That's what trial's for.
That's the point of it, yeah.
And if you're already questioning the sealed documents that hold, I mean, you're when you come to the rest of the evidence, and if you're gonna act, well, then what if it's a day where later on in the trial and you realize it, and you're sitting there going, why this doesn't connect this person? You yourself are saying that. then isn't it? I mean, what happened to innocent until proven guilty? Okay, like nobody knows for sure.
Yeah.
He doesn't know. I don't know. Even the investigators don't know. The only people that know for sure are the people that were there when the event took place.
Yeah.
It's innocent until proven guilty. There, to say that somebody's family shouldn't be allowed, and that's one-sided. It's one-sided when you're trying to restrict the other side from having what should be available to everybody, because it could be you, Mr. Steve, that ends up in front of a judge on the defense side, defending yourself against something that maybe you didn't do. You should deserve your family over there, right? That's the thing about empathy, and that's why we discuss what we discuss, because we have the availability to put ourselves in other people's shoes and go, wait a minute, what if that was me?
Yeah. And I mean, when it comes to that issue, I know a lot of people have different opinions about the judge. But when he spoke about that and said that that particular point speaks to an issue of humanity, I admired him for saying that. I really did, because it is the best way to put it. There's no other way to put it.
Yeah, he did. He was very sincere when he said that too, because that's what it is about. And so this part, it's just like the whole document. How can you get that out of those documents? It's because we're on the side where, and rightfully so for them, they can be on that side. That's the person that's being charged. They have to trust that the investigators are charging the right person. So I see where they're coming from, but at the same time, when we're looking at it from all sides, it's like I would rather go back and say, damn, we shouldn't have allowed that, then go back and say, wow, we should have allowed. And that's it's better to be, it's just, humanity. That's the right word, and I applaud the judge for because as much as he was bashing on the defense during that argument, because he was really bashing during that argument, at the end of it, he did reel it back in and is like, it's about humanity. So yeah. But I understand where they're coming from too, because the prosecution charged this person, and they have to expect that the people that were there to do the job did the job. And I can't wait for trial. Can't wait for trial. I think because a lot of this stuff needs to be answered. It's just gone on way too long. And just think about it, like how much time has gone by allowed Blum to do what he just did. Think about if this trial would have already taken place, would Blum have been able to create what he created in the last year?
Yeah, exactly. It's a really good point.
It's that guy just pisses me off. I'm gonna go on another rant, and I just need to play the video.
This person, we got to do everything for this one person, and it's like there's two parties here. It's not just one party, but it seems that it gets so one-sided, and a gag order is. I'm all about leadership. When you see it in the military, when you see it in sports programs, you go after the leadership and say, the results are you. They come from you, and they come down. And when you get into this gag order and everyone's just sitting around pointing fingers and nobody's saying anything, it seems like such a cop-out. And then the families are just stuck in the middle, and everyone's like, what do you guys know about what's going on? What's going on here?
Yeah. The speculation, the rumors, the lies, it's all, because it's 2.5 years later, and people have spun the truth, and people have, created their own narratives of what happened, and they put it out there, and it's all because this gag order, I mean, and people think that we know more. They're like, they know more, they know more, they know more. We don't.
Or the
We
sealing.
don't know more.
Tomorrow we have a court case, and they didn't even label it. It's just a sealed.
We don't know what it's about.
This is not Secret Service, like national secrets. I don't understand how our kids got involved in a murder that is being treated with more secrecy than I've ever seen in my life. I just don't get it. It's North Idaho, small little town. What are we here to hide? I don't get it. But yeah, we'll definitely push back on this because it's just ridiculous for a family to be left in the dark for 3 years. We still haven't got all the last moments of our child's life. We haven't got a laptop, a tablet, and I mean, my daughter's going to college right now. I would love for her to have Kaylee's laptop and be like, "This was your sister. This got her through school. Here you go." Can't do it because it's locked up in some room, sitting there collecting dust.
Yeah.
So,
Well, Dr. Mercado and I have talked about this extensively. And, you know, it's interesting. We're in a time in the world today.
Thank you so
where
much, Jennifer.
Your case is, you know, a perfect example of you're already living in an F5 tornado on the ground, destroying everything around you. I mean, your life comes to a stop. Everything stops. I mean, and Kristi, you mentioned it earlier, and it resonated with all of us here. You know, the wedding, all the birthdays. I mean, she's got another birthday, but she will always be 21 forever. I mean, our Ryan is always 20 forever from this point forward. And then you guys have to deal with this other F5 coming at you of people saying, you know, take shelter. You have every right to have been feeling the way you've been feeling. You have every right to continue to express yourself. Personally, because you and I have talked behind the scenes, I think you've been very restrained, which is a good thing for your daughter because you are her voice. And that voice will be heard very loud and clear. It's coming. And I commend you as a family that you have really held back, but at the same time, been keeping her voice out there. And I agree with you. The sunshine laws there in Idaho need to be looked at extensively because you have other cases on the East Coast, you know, that there's an explosion of information and that person is still going to get a fair trial. Okay? And I think that's all these other things happen. I mean, Gary, am I off base here? What say you? As he turns his mic on.
There you go. Sorry. No, I think you said it very well. I mean, Chris and Karen and I are well aware of the true crime community. All right, I'm going to
skip ahead a little bit here
to this and see whatever they're
blurs my for days after starts, but there's going to be something. So we have
people right when you're judging them until you've walked in their shoes. You have no right to judge. So don't listen to that. And I think, you know, you just do what you have to do. And but believe it or not, you know, 90 some odd days is going to come very quickly to this and see whatever they're going to.
So we have.
Wow.
There we go.
But I know trial's going to be different, and we won't be there for all of it because, you know,
we got to go to college for Bree.
Well, we want to take all Bree to college, but for days after starts. But there's going to be some things that I don't want to hear. I cannot.
Of course.
I mean, up to this point, I've already heard things that I can't unhear, and I wish I didn't hear them. I wish I'd never heard them. I wish that there were, you know, and I don't want to see something that I can't unsee, and that just blurs my last images of Kaylee. Yeah, and so I hope nothing comes at us, you know, all of willy-nilly. You know, I hope that there will be warning for that and stuff like that. But yeah, there's gonna, you know, and it just. As a mother, I can't look at photos. I don't want to see crime scene. I don't want to see autopsy. I don't want to see any of that. I don't want to see their clothing that they were wearing. None of it. I don't want to see a drop of blood even out. Just
you didn't even want to hear the 911. So.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't even listened to the 911 call. I know I'll eventually hear it, but listening to it on my own, no.
Yeah.
I haven't.
Well,
heard
you know, I'm not gonna say what infamous crime I'm talking about, but I heard a story about a mother who was affected by a crime. You know, that's
all right. Let me skip ahead a little more. Sorry, this is just I'm trying to skip through the rambling generalized Everybody knows this already. Shit.
It's really loud. And, keep on, no one's going to deter you. Steve, you guys are tenacious and you guys are the victim's family.
It really is hard, right, to think of that.
I think,
Right.
yeah, no, Gary, I think all of everything that what Kristi and Steve are sharing, all of it's hard. I mean,
Oh yeah.
Intensely hard. For the social media hate, I'm just so sorry that you guys even have to deal with it.
Yeah.
Chris and I have been dealing with, you're on people who are on YouTube or put themselves out there. There is a certain amount of hate that comes with the territory, but you guys are the victims' families. You guys are the ones that are suffering. And I know that those voices can be loud. And maybe it's the idealistic part of me. I always feel that the positive is louder than the negative, even though the negative gets really loud. And, keep on, no one's going to deter you, Steve. You guys are tenacious and you're strong and you have a ton of support and you're going to keep doing what you're doing. And some of that hate and those awful voices, they do get quieter as you get closer to the truth coming out.
Mm-hmm.
That's the trial. You guys already know what the truth is. And I think, again, we can't take away
Nobody
what you guys
does.
are feeling or the
It's
pain or
not
all that,
unsealed.
but your community, you have so much support. And I just want to believe that those voices are a lot louder than the haters. And thank goodness, Kristi, that you just turned all that garbage off and stay focused. And, as Chris and Gary were saying, you will have justice in the courtroom. You will be able to release some of what you've been having to hold for 2.5, close to 3 years. And so, we support you. One of the reasons we wanted to do this show is to remind.
Yeah, I mean, specifically when it comes to the injuries of Kaylee, that's a lot of what they're going to know. The only other little bits are going to be parts that investigators have shared with them, which isn't going to be much, but it's going to be enough. I'm sure they were told umpteen times, just wait till trial.
Yeah.
We have so much. Hey, let me tell you something. Yeah, we got him connecting to the Wi-Fi, but don't say that. Just trust us. We got the right guy. Yeah. Nobody knows. Nobody knows the truth because it's sealed. Once it becomes unsealed, then we'll know the truth. Until then, nobody knows. Not even them knows exactly how it all happened. We just have narration. We have the answers to the test. We're just waiting on the homework to be supplied because I don't know, when I was in school, if I did algebra homework or something and I came up with an answer, well, how'd you get that? I need to see your equation written out on this, right? Just because you got the answer doesn't mean you did the homework. I need to see the homework. Otherwise, I consider it a wrong answer. This is what this is going to be. We're just finishing up with this here. Just a couple more minutes. Thank you all for being here. I won't be here tonight. I'm going to be taking a break, doing some stuff with the lounge later on. But I'll be back tomorrow. Definitely, if you're just joining in, check out the first segment, first hour and a half or so. We went over the Blum Ramsland stuff. There's a lot more to it. I don't even see anything being even discussed even right now about it. So I think what I'm going to do is after the show's done, I might just put a little highlight out there and put it in the video section just for people to see exactly all the gaslighting and victim bashing that this dude is doing to Dr. Ramsland. It's uncalled for. It's ridiculous. It's immature. It's childish, and there's no integrity in it. And this is somebody that didn't just show up. He's been around the game for multiple decades, and he knows way better than that. Dan Rather would have taught him, when it comes to what you should do with information and reporting it. All right, we'll just be finishing in this up. Like I said, we just checked out certain parts of this. I definitely encourage you to go at least sub up, hit the like of the video, leave a heartfelt comment in there thanking them for their support. And and also you know the whole version, the whole length, you get the facial expressions and all that. Definitely go watch the whole video. And yes, I love Tina. I'm gonna have to find this Ramsland video, and who knows, I might do like a revisit thing or something coming up where we kind of go back and watch that show again. Basically, we went through her whole you know, the history of her and kind of talked about her a little bit way back in the beginning. So we'll do that here in the future. And also we'll be covering that Ashley Banfield episode where she's not wearing beige. She actually wears like different colored flannels and stuff on her own channel. So
I saw that.
yeah, we'll be watching that. It's not beige Banfield like it is on News Nation. It's relaxed Banfield on her drop. Was it Drop Dead Serious? Okay. All right. So this is just a little bit, the little last bit of this here.
Planting a tree in our backyard. And I jumped up to go do it. And Brad grabbed me and he said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm going to help." He said, "No." He says, "That's for them. They're healing. Let them do it." And that has resonated with me. You know, we're into 21 years now since Ryan passed. And in 21 years, you're going to be in the exact same seat. No gift has value unless you give it away. And you will be giving away Kaylee's gift to the world. You're doing it now. Now, the hardest part is going to be coming, which you're already preparing for with the trial. There are going to be things said. There are going to be things seen. Okay, that to your point, you're going to have to make hard decisions as a family. I mean, I just went through this, you know, with somebody else. And I told them, like I'm going to share with you, you know, you make that decision for you. And the rest will take its course. And, you know, that's going to be a difficult task, but you're going to get through it. I know you will. I can see it in your family's dynamics as well as, you know, your leadership, Steve. I mean, that's a great thing for your daughter. And I think the court will recognize that. You know, this Judge Hippler, he's no nonsense. He is no nonsense. And so I want to know how the community can help continue to support you guys, you know, as you continue to go through this next 90 days, like, you know, as we're getting closer and closer, and then the trial is going to go rapidly. I mean, it's going to seem like it's going to drag on, but, you know, once the experts are out of the way and everybody realizes, okay, this is a done deal, then it's going to go quick. And just remember, the defense's job, okay, is to get.
All right, hold on. Let me skip ahead a little bit more. We already know all this.
Who, when the camera is.
We already know all that.
We've lived a lot of life.
So, you know, getting it in bits and pieces. And we asked for it. We wanted the truth to start coming out. It's kind of like this is not
on the sidelines cheering you guys on.
Thank you. We thank you guys for your platform as well. You know, being able to, you know, get some things off our chest. You know, it feels good. You know, just to make people remember, like you said, Dr. Picard, like this is not a true crime series. It's not scripted. It's real. We're real people. The cameras go off, and we're still, you know, trudging through this. You know, and it's hard. It's hard, and we just want to get through the trial. We just want to get through it so bad. Just I wish I could snap my fingers. We could be a year, boom, here and next year, and we can start healing. You know, I mean, this open wound that just constantly gets salt poured on it. You know, and we asked for it. We wanted the truth to start coming out. It's coming out. You know, so I don't want to say be careful what we wish for. You know, because we did. We wanted it. We're like start unsealing this stuff. We want to know. We want to know. So, you know, getting it in bits and pieces, you know, is hard. You know, you start feeling a little better, and then the next day, you know, but I think it's better than just boom, 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 and trial. At least we're a little bit more prepared of the things that, you know, are going to be coming out. But it's just this open wound, like the biggest open wound that you could possibly have, that just is constantly getting, you know, just starts to heal up and it just gets busted open again. You know, it's nobody wants to be here.
I can imagine.
You know, it's just the hardest thing ever, and it will always be. You know, our lives are changed forever.
Yeah.
But we got to make good of that. And like what you guys have done is amazing. I would love to be here in, 10, 15 years and making good of it, in Kaylee's honor, and Maddie's honor, for, we got to, I just so badly want to do something with it. Like you said, a bill or something, to change something, the way that this has happened, and just make a change somehow, some way, storm the doors,
Well, you guys.
And I'll go ahead and pause it right there. I just wanted to end it with them. And speaking of, and I want to shout out JJ Vance over on Twitter at Operation GCD, and I'll share the link here in a second. But when it comes to speaking of this, this interview that I was talking about here, where you got Beigefield right here in that flannel. JJ Vance put out a really interesting tweet. Here's the tweet, and definitely go follow them and follow me as well if you're not following me on Twitter. I do retweet a lot of stuff as well, but check this out. And this is one of the things that we're going to be going into, because there's a lot of stuff in this episode that we haven't even been able to discuss. And it said, that would be interesting. I guess we'll have to wait and see due to matters of national security. Welcome to Idaho Contra. Gag orders are for national security. So listen to this real quick.
And I've kind of heard that came from the media pressure, the media themselves, who had a challenge to the gag order, basically said, this is not something that is in law. Like, gag orders are for national security. Gag orders are not usually for an everyday crime in a state.
Yeah. Now, and that's why he's going to be challenging the whole gag order thing, because really he has the lawyer in his hand telling him, look, dude, this is not, they're gaslighting you, bro. And it's, I guarantee you, like, I guarantee you, it's going to be one of those things. And I know that and the reason that they're getting bashed is because there's a lot of people thinking that they're on the BK gravy train, which they are. They're on that fucking, it's BK or nothing. You see the different platforms that they show up on, and they're the BK or nothings. You even have somebody coming out doing a show tonight with a boom saying, is it debunked or not? Like, Howard Blum still might be correct. Just shut the fuck up, man. Seriously, just shut the fuck up. Oh my lord. Okay, I'm gonna end the show, Rosie, because then I'm this shit pisses me off, and I'm just gonna, let's take that highway, Rosie. Let's take that highway. Okay.
We'll do that. Yeah.
Thank you all for being here. Any finishing thoughts you want to add to that? I just feel like once the evidence comes out, and if they see that it's not him, then guess what? They're not going to be sitting there in court going, they didn't get him. They're going to be saying, look, this wasn't him. And I guarantee they're going to be fighting, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah. Well, look, I feel for them, and I think that this is the first we're hearing about them wanting to challenge the gag order, and I think that's good for them. Good for them, and I hope that the other parents support them in that as well, because you can see the damage that it's done. It's been the most damaging thing. It's just compounded an already terrible trauma for them. I mean, this has done them no good. It's like, it's just, you just throw salt in it. So really, really good for them.
All you can do is hope for the best and just trust and hope that the right thing is going to happen. And there's a reason why we have trial, and there's a reason why there's innocence until guilt. And it's because this stuff took place before, where people were getting wrongfully convicted. You don't come out with something if there wasn't a mistake first. So there was a mistake, and that's what created the the law in the first place. So thank you all for being here. Appreciate you very much. Please go sub up to Rosee as well if you're not. And make sure you hit the like and leave a comment. It definitely helps. And like I said, we'll be back tomorrow over here, True Crime Channel. I'll be at the lounge later doing some things later this evening. And then I'm going to probably, right as we get done wrapping up the show, I think I'm just going to make a little highlight of the Blum Ramsland stuff. So look for that to come out here soon. And leave a comment in that, especially because regardless of this stuff that we were discussing here, I really want to know what you feel like when it comes to the Blum Ramsland shit. And I'm telling you right now, there's already a show that's scheduled for later tonight. Wondering if it's debunked or not. Debunked or not? Like, dude, I'm sorry. It's just as bad as Blum. If you couldn't wake up over a year ago and smell the hot dog steak because he supposedly rode in the back seat, give me a damn break. Do better. And if you need to feel better, we'll be having a CJ call. You can ask Dr. CJ. Dr. CJ will help you feel better too. Love you guys. Appreciate you very much.
Bye, everyone.
I appreciate you guys. And we also have these on the menu. They smell good too, and they're soft. Love you guys. We'll see you on the next live. They are soft. Ask anybody.
Possibly with the daughter.